What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to Tour Life. Today is Tuesday, June 25th, and do we have a fun, juicy episode for you today? We're going to start off by recapping what went down this past week in the Preserve. Some dominant champions back on top. Talking about Ricky and Missy Gannon there. Also, nice to see some other faces that we haven't seen in the top 10 for a while, also making a good run. Kevin Jones makes his announcement that he is going to be throwing Innova at the Preserve. Very interesting decision to do that the week of a tournament. Then we have Kayla Visca will not be joining us, unfortunately, but he did share with me some words on the Prodigy situation. We also have Hunter Thomas, co-host of Griplocked. He will be coming on talking all about Prodigy. What is going on over there? What the heck is going on there? Because not only did Kevin leave, but we also now have Vinyl Makala leaving Prodigy after 9.5 years. We've got an update to the Manufacturers Cup, and then we've got a slew, I believe that's the correct word, a slew of listener questions for you guys. And Silas, no, I did not buy the microphone yet. I need to figure out the stand for it. So don't get on me. It's a massive microphone. I'm gonna have to buy like a stand to drop it in.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you're gonna have to help.
I'll cut you some slack.
You have to help me with that.
One or something.
Yeah, you have to help me with that. But before we get into today's episode, this episode is sponsored by Discbox. Shout out to our sponsor, Discbox. Most disc golfers have a stash of extra discs. For some, it's dozens. For some, it's hundreds. And for many, it takes the form of unruly piles and stacks that don't fit properly in any container and waste a lot of space. But now there is a storage solution called Discbox. Discbox is the only low-cost golf disc storage product on the market. Discbox is a simple disc storage bin that holds up to 30 discs, requires no tape or glue, and is made from recycled material in the US of A. Go to discboxdg.com and you will find quantity discounts, wholesale options, multiple colors, and most importantly, no order minimums. So you can order just a single box if you want. Discbox also makes a great players pack item. Visit discboxdg.com today and get your collection organized. Use code FOUNDATION for 15% off your order. Shout out to our friends over at Discbox. Yuli, how's it going, brother?
Great ad read, man. Great ad read.
Thank you.
It's good, man. I'm back home, obviously, in my little studio.
Yeah.
Got in yesterday. Pretty tired, slept till 12 today, so I didn't do much, man. I had some, Sarah left me some honeydews when I woke up, all written down. We're having a baby shower here on Sunday, so
that was not what I thought. I thought you were talking about like the melon. I love honey. I love honey.
Chores, man.
I was like, left you a nice little slice of honeydew. I was like, oh, that would have been nice. Awesome.
That would have been nice. No, it was a list of chores I had to do because we're having baby shower actually on Saturday, not Sunday.
That's exciting.
And so, yeah, I just been doing some chores all day. And
what's your job for the baby shower? I feel like that's not like a very like you have a bunch of guys coming over, or is that
I have
more?
some, yeah.
Okay.
So we're doing both, yeah.
Do you play games? I've never been to a baby shower.
Making sure that the garage is all done. She also had a dresser she got today. We had to take that upstairs. Had a grill in the garage that had never been put together since the wedding.
Oh,
shout out to Tank, my buddy, who got that for us. And so I had to have a buddy come help me. He pretty much put the whole thing together. Shout out to Ryan, who put the whole thing together. I watched and then gave him some egg. Huh?
Is it like an egg?
An egg?
Grill? What kind of grill?
Oh, I don't even know. I'd have to check.
I know Traeger, and then I know like the eggs.
It's nice. I'll tell you that much.
All right, it's a nice grill.
It's a nice.
How many burgers are we talking about? How many burgers can you put on there?
Ooh, probably only 6 or 7 or 8, something like that.
That's still a good size.
Yeah, it's solid size. Oh,
yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. It looks good. I need to get the propane.
Are you gonna be like? Are you gonna start being like one of those dads that like, hey, come on up. We're grilling tonight. Come on over.
I hope so. That's the dream. Have the garage open, some grilling.
I started dating a girl the summer that she was going to be a senior in high school. So it was her I guess you call that her senior summer of high school.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was leaving to go to college.
Mhm.
Right. And so we dated, I don't know, we dated maybe for like 6 months or something like that. I think we probably broke up. There is a difference. Like the age gap wasn't very there, but there is a difference between like being in college and dating like a girl in high school.
Yeah.
I'll say that. It was weird. But the cool
I
thing,
think most people would say that.
but the age difference, because I'm young for my age. So like the age difference is not, I don't know. And if you're a senior and you're dating a junior, do you just break up with them when you go to college? Like, I think so. Okay. Regardless of the fact, the story is, I went back and we went to their high school football game.
Yeah.
And there wasn't like the dad that was supposed to show up to run the grill didn't show up.
Oh no.
And they're like, we don't have anyone to grill. And I was like, bro, I was flipping burgers. I was making hot dogs. I was cooking chicken. I don't really spend that much time with a girl, but I need to. It is so fun, Yuli. You're going to love it.
I want to be good at grilling. And I know as soon as I start grilling, that's all I'm going to want to do. I'm going to want to do the grill.
People are saying, just say young for my age.
So
no,
I might just.
I'm young for my grade is what I meant to say. My birthday's August 29th. So like I'm right on. I was right on the cusp of whether or not my mom put me into school, like preschool or whatever. I could have stayed back. So I was always like, I wasn't able to drive to school until my junior year, like my junior year of high school, where sophomores were driving to school. So that's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah, but I might be flipping a couple burgers.
You should, man.
Saturday, yeah.
You
might
should.
Be flipping.
The smell of a barbecue is, absolutely love the smell of a barbecue. It is my favorite. And talking about food, Yuli, if you ever come to Dallas, me and Kelsey will take you out to our favorite place. I don't want to drop the name of it because I don't want it to be overpacked. But it's a steakhouse in Dallas.
Oh, I love steak, man.
We normally go there. We normally go there to like celebrate
an event.
We go there like once every couple months to celebrate something, right? And so Kelsey was like, I'm not coming back to Dallas for a while. Kelsey was here this week, so there was a lot of family time with the boys and everything. So she's like, I'm not coming back for Dallas in a while. I want to go to that steakhouse. And I was like, absolutely, let's go. So we went Friday, I believe, had it. I mean, literally, it's the best steak. It's so good. It's so good. Everything's so good. And then she was supposed to leave Monday morning on her flight. And Sunday, she was really not wanting to leave. So I was like, push your flight back a day. What the heck? So she pushed her flight back a day. So we got an extra day to hang out on Monday. And she like comes in when I'm working, whatever. And is like, you want to go back to the steakhouse? So we went double steakhouse like in the last like 3 days. And oh my gosh, man. I put down like what? I put down like over a pound of filet in the last like 3 days, but it was totally worth it. It was so good.
Ooh.
Absolutely love it.
See, whenever I'm on tour, I eat steak at least once a week. I have to go out, get a good, I look at the local places,
Yeah.
Look at like, Joe's Steakhouse or whatever, as long as it's got good reviews and sometimes I like keeping it local too. So if they have like local beef or something that they're shipping in that I know, I like steak. But anyways.
Yeah, I'm weird. I'll go to like a sushi place in Iowa.
I would never do that.
I do. I don't know.
Because I don't eat sushi.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise I would.
I was not a place that you probably would be like, oh, I need to go to a sushi place. So
no.
But good week. How did the preserve go for you before we jump into a little recap of the tournament?
Preserve went well, actually. Aside for one thing, I landed at about 42 to 40 to 34 feet on 19 holes, and I made 4.
Oh, you were just not able to get the disc close enough, and then you couldn't make putts.
I couldn't make the putt from just outside the circle. I made everything pretty much inside.
That's the worst.
And I was just it felt like I was cursed, man. I was just landing at that spot I'm telling you, every hole. I played with my buddy Jake Brown, and he was staying with us. And I told him after the first round, I'm like, dude, you don't understand. I landed that circle's edge every time, and I never made it. We start off hole 1, circle's edge, hole 2, circle's edge, hole 3, circle's edge. He's like, man, you weren't lying. Didn't stop the whole time. So I was putting myself in position, which is good because I've been putting great from circle 2 around that range right there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it was, man. I just mentally couldn't lock it down, and I got way behind the 8 ball after the first round when everybody shot 10s and 14s.
Gotta go double out of preserve. Yeah.
And then, of course, because I played bad, I had to tee off I had a bad tee time to where started raining when we started, didn't stop till hole 8, and it was torrential downpour. So I played like pretty good. I was like maybe like 1 or 2 under during the rain.
Yeah.
And then afterwards I didn't play that great, and I shot like 3 under, and everybody, played good again. And so I'm in like 50th place after that. And then the final round, I played really good. Still didn't make a circle 2 putt. Landed at circle 2 seems like 7 or 8 times. Made 1. So that was cool. And shot an 8 under. So I ended up coming back to get like 30. I think I got 34th. So I got some cash, which is
moved up the leaderboard there on the final day. That's nice. Yeah, I mean, we'll go into the course a little bit later on, but we all know what preserve is. When you get to preserve, it's a sprint. It's an absolute sprint from the very first hole. Every single time you make a par out there, it hurts. Pars hurt, and then bogeys and doubles hurt even worse. Like even worse. And you know what works in that? An 8 on hole 2. That hurts the absolute most. Shout out to me a couple years ago when I decided to miss the Mando 3 times and not know that you could actually advance to the FPOT pad after you missed the Mando.
You did not take an 8 on that hole.
I did. Yeah. I didn't know you could advance. So I just kept reteeing. And I missed the Mando, I think 3 times. Yeah. Missed 1, missed the Mando 2, 3, missed the Mando 4, 5, missed the Mando 6, 7, make the putt. Yeah, I took an 8. By golly, I took an 8. But yeah, my week was great down here. Like I said, Kelsey, she is in Vegas now for good. This was kind of her last hurrah back here in Dallas. We got some preseason football games coming up, which I'm very excited about. Very excited. I don't know if we want to talk about the Steelers at all. I think Justin Fields is your guy. Russell Wilson, absolutely not. But a lot of promise coming with the Raiders this year. Very, very excited. Crossing my fingers. It's going to be very hard to get a playoff, home field playoff game because you got the Chiefs in your division. But you never know. Trouble in paradise maybe with the Chiefs this year. We'll see. But with that being said, shout out to our second sponsor, the Homing Pigeon Disc Golf. Are you tired of losing your favorite disc? We are too. Well, no more. We have found the perfect solution to getting our most cherished discs back. Homing Pigeon Disc Golf has developed a new way for us to all be reunited with even our worst thrown discs into the thickest rough. The Homing Pigeon Disc Finder is a compact, lightweight device that pairs with a small, all-weather locator sticker to find all of your hidden discs. The Homing Pigeon locator sticker is just that, a sticker. There is no bulky battery or power source to weigh down your discs. You simply walk towards your shot, and once you get within 20 feet, your disc finder will begin to beep. Oh my gosh. And continue beeping faster and faster the closer you get until you locate your disc. Yuli, I need this on every single one of my discs right now. What the heck? No more losing discs buried under leaves. After finding enough discs, the Homing Pigeon Disc Finder will pay for itself, but that's not the main reason it was created. The reason why the Homing Pigeon Disc Finder was created was to get your unique, perfectly beat in and sentimental disc back. You know, the one that flies just the way you like. The Homing Pigeon Disc Finder is now available on Kickstarter, and the best news of all is that the Disc Finder is a finished product. Your participation in this Kickstarter campaign is a pre-order. As soon as the campaign ends, you get your Disc Finder. A sincere thank you to all early backers. You will receive an exclusive and sizable discount through Kickstarter.com. Check us out at homingpigeondiscgolf.com or simply search Homing Pigeon on Kickstarter. Get your Homing Pigeon disc golf finder today and never lose a disc again, because a disc in the hand is worth two in the bush. This is incredible.
Have you ever gotten stroked for a lost disc on the course?
Yes. People are asking how much of the stickers weigh. Guys, I think this is like an RFID chip. I haven't seen it because obviously it's in Kickstarter mode.
Yeah, I actually saw a picture of it. It looks just like a normal sticker.
Like a weight sticker, like the stickers that Discraft puts on as a weight?
No, it's a little bit bigger than that.
It's bigger.
Yeah.
It's like this big.
But it doesn't seem too like obstructive.
Pop says they're already sold out.
Oh.
Was that the greatest pitch of all time?
That was quick.
Really?
Wow, you sold them out?
I just sold them out. Shout out, greatest pitch of all time. No, but seriously, this is like a massive thing that I think could really help a lot of people, because I'm trying to think.
My mom's on here watching, and she's gonna be kicking herself. She came up with this idea so long ago and tried to get it started. I swear.
There are like four or five shots that jump straight into my head. That, like, one is me and Kelsey playing at Silas. What's the place that the college used to play at all the time in Lynchburg? It's not Independence. It's not Lou London. It's the other.
My mom
really
just texted me and said, "I'm so mad."
It's the other really wooded course. I've only gone out there and filled a couple times. It's by the it's by that little par 3 aceable course. You know the little pitch and putt course that we
East
go.
Campus, Liberty East.
Yes. Me and Kelsey went out there. I threw my Get Freaky, dyed Get Freaky that was like all multicolored, that literally looks like fall leaves. I threw it on a hole, and I swear, me and Kelsey were looking for 30 minutes, just kicking leaves. Then there's a hole at OTB that Ezra threw. You remember hole 9?
Does this thing work underwater?
That's also a good question. Once it hits water, is it also bad? Because if you,
I have no clue.
Because you just stick your head in the water, you can hear it beep sound travels really good in water. I'm just thinking, there's so many times.
There's a device that beeps. Like your disc doesn't beep.
Yeah.
It's like this device that beeps.
That's what I'm saying. iPhones are waterproof.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just walk. Oh, you don't even have to put your head in the water, is what you're saying. You can literally just walk.
Yeah, walk.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You basically turn into a metal detector.
Yeah.
This sounds fantastic. I love it.
Dude, what about when people start hacking this thing, though, and stealing other people's discs?
Now, like, this wouldn't make sense to have on while you're playing in tournaments, obviously, but
could you imagine? Matt Bell's like, "It's all right, guys. Don't worry, I'm gonna find this thing."
That's the first time I've ever heard about this. That's incredible.
I saw a commercial when I was doing commentary about it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So I guess they are sold out right now, guys, but definitely check them out. homingpigeondiscgolf.com. Companies like this, a lot of times when they do sell out quick, they'll put like they'll do like 100 pre-order and then
that'd be smart.
Another 100
I
pre-order.
saw they're still on Kickstarter. So they're still selling stuff. So maybe their website's sold out, but their Kickstarter maybe.
Okay, so go to their
still. So
go to their Kickstarter. Go to their Kickstarter. Check it out. Incredible. All right. We're gonna pause real quick on Preserve, Yuli. We'll jump into the Preserve recap because we have TMZ, the man himself, Hunter Thomas, coming in to let us know what the heck, as he repositions himself here.
Trying to line up there.
What the heck is going on with Prodigy? We all saw the Kevin Jones announcement. We were thinking, that's weird. And now Vino, their biggest European signed player, after 9.5 years, leaving his contract early as well. That's weird. Before we get into Hunter, I do have to say I did reach out to Kevin. he basically told me that he has obligations tonight, so he wasn't able to come on. And then also said in the future, just want to let you know that he cannot talk about parting ways with Prodigy at all. So it sounds like we're not going to get any information from Kevin. Obviously, Vino happened really quickly. Time difference. Wasn't able to get him on the show. Try to get Kale on the show tonight too, to like provide a little bit more insight, because obviously Hunter, you and Trevor talked to Kale, which we'll talk a little bit about in a second. But he unfortunately has some family matters to deal with tonight. But basically, this is what Kale said, and then Hunter, you can kind of fill in some of the gaps as well. Basically, what he told me, first off, he wanted to say that Preserve was the second highest grossing event behind Portland. And Portland was a 4-day event. Preserve was only a 3-day event. He said the crowd was incredible all week. The energy was there both for NPO and FPO, especially coming down to the last couple holes. They had over 2,000 people on the ground on Sunday. Pretty impressive stuff there. Shout out to everyone that came out. Yeah, the fans up there are incredible. And then he was basically saying too that he feels like every year that it's always going to come down to the last hole, just because of the lack of OB. You basically get a bunched up scoreboard there. Let's see. So for Prodigy departures, essentially he said that Prodigy made it to the point in the year where they felt that Kevin's contract, there were parts of Kevin's contract that he wasn't holding up. So they were able to basically get out of the contract. Michael Sullivan from Prodigy reached out to Innova and talked to Innova to see if they were willing to basically pick up Kevin's contract and renegotiate it, which they were. So that's where Kevin ended up going. He did say it was unfortunate to lose him, but Michael was happy that he was able to help Kevin get to a new spot. As far as Vino goes, Prodigy Europe, I guess, is a completely different entity. And so he just doesn't really have that much information, but he basically said he's imagining it's probably very, very similar to the Kevin Jones situation. So fill in the gaps, Hunter. What is going on with Prodigy here, losing 2 top contracts mid-season?
Yeah, well, I think the only things that I can really fill in that, there's speculation and then there's stuff that obviously Kale said to us. And it seems that both contracts were like, basically at the end of the day, it's a bookkeeping matter. It's a business matter of like, it just didn't make sense to make it through the rest of the season with how big these contracts are. We don't exactly know, but hefty enough that it makes a lot of sense to get them off the books in June and the next 6 months matter. Because one thing that I mentioned on Grip Locked was, had this move happened end of October, I don't think really anyone's batting an eye. People are like, oh, Kevin Jones contract ended a year early. It's a storyline, but it's not like what the heck's going on at Prodigy. Also, had they been spaced out more, same thing. Storyline, not what the heck's going on at Prodigy. And yeah, it seemed that it's definitely a monetary type thing. It also seemed that, like you said, he knew a little bit more into the insights of Kevin's contract than Vino's. And I believe he alluded to it coming down to like some type of performance clause. And I think also marketing clause. What that marketing clause is, who knows? I had a long time ago been under a Prodigy contract, very, very, very low level Prodigy contract. But I know in my level, it was literally like expectations on posts with a certain hashtag. So it literally could be something as, deep in the nitty gritty like that. That's a break of contract, or it could be something way, more intense of like, maybe he was expected to be creating YouTube content for Prodigy that never happened, or he was supposed to be in XYZ commercial and he didn't show up. Who knows? All of that is where the speculation starts to come in. But I found it very interesting personally that, the head of Prodigy did take the time to kind of negotiate a deal to give Kevin a like, hey, here's an out for you if you want to take it. So like when, it's not working out for us. You know, we need this budget cap for who knows what. It could just be they didn't have enough cash to get through it. They could be trying to save up for spending on the Robinsons brothers or something. But I did find it interesting that, like, hey, we negotiated this possible out. So if, you know, you're not with us anymore, but at least you have somewhere to land.
I think that was a smart play.
I think so too. I am a little I'm a little intrigued as to why that wasn't a more public thing. Like, I felt like had we not called Kale, that information might not have got out. It's kind of the feeling I got. So I felt like that should have been a more public thing, because that's like, hey, Prodigy, you know, had Kevin's back to a certain extent when letting him go, if that made sense.
Well, this is the perfect example of why, like, athletes and stuff have managers, because the player themselves doesn't want to come out and toot their own horn and post something on Instagram or say something in an interview. They basically tell their manager, hey, this is what's going on. The manager then tells the reporters. And so, like, if Prodigy would have come out and said, hey, oh, by the way, we're awesome, we got Kevin hooked up, I think that's a completely different look than you guys breaking it on Grip Locked and then us discussing it here as well. And I don't know if that was their main play. I don't know if you guys reached out.
We did, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think that definitely in the future definitely makes, like, stuff coming out from a third party changes the narrative more in certain instances than, like, the actual company coming out and say it themselves.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. Now, as far as Vino goes, I was just going to say, Vino, I'm expecting we won't see a contract announcement for a little bit, just because Prodigy is having this, like, last Archer release with them. I don't know if you saw that, where they're releasing a, like, final disc with him. So I'm imagining they're letting the dust settle from that. Once, you know, that's all, you know, T's are crossed, I's are dotted, then we'll see an announcement. A separate source, not Kale, but this guy messaged me, and I know this guy. I just don't know how on earth he's tied to this situation, but he was right. He told me, hey, Kevin Jones is going to Innova. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Then Kevin Jones went to Innova. He's also telling me Vino's also headed to Innova. So if that's true too, it might be a similar thing. I just think we'll wait a little bit longer on the Vino one because of the disc release with Prodigy as, like, the farewell.
I heard a rumor from somebody of what he was actually getting, Kevin, from Prodigy. And it was $25,000 a month.
I have heard similar rumors. Yeah, you know, with the end of the day, like, let's say that's true.
And that was from multiple people. I heard it from a reliable source, which I wouldn't have said anything about it, but then I heard it from 5 other people.
Yeah. That seems to be how stuff spreads in disc golf, is a lot of people find stuff they shouldn't know. But I mean, if we assume that's true and we put Vino at a similar number, let's say Vino is at 15, just so we have round numbers. I mean, that's $40,000 a month. That's math quick. $240,000 we're talking by the end of the year, $500,000 for next year. That's $750,000 almost in cap space that they can now maybe go after the Robinson brothers, if that's their play or something, to be able to actually have someone.
Let's talk a little bit about that. So Will reached out to me because I think he's starting to know. I didn't even have to ask him, but this time he reached out to me with the Vino situation and basically just copy. I love Will. He literally just copy and pasted what he said about Kevin, but just it's like one of those emails saying, like, hey, blah, 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 you're invited. And it's like, you just cut out the person's name and send it out to 100 people. So he said the same thing. Vino's going to another team. It was a good opportunity for him and made sense for both parties. So I said, you guys clearing room for a big signing? And he said, well, LeBron is a free agent right now. So that is, like, the interesting question, though, is, like, what is happening right now? Are they actually trying to clear up some money to lock down someone? And then there's the other idea of, are they actually clearing up money to then be more to be a more attractable company to sell? Like, could they be trying to say, hey,
or are they in trouble?
Or yeah, that's the third. Or are they seriously in massive trouble where they have no money to sign a big player? No one wants to buy their company, and they're in real big issues right now.
I think Prodigy's not the only one, I think, that made bets on players in that 2021 era when money was a lot easier to come by in disc golf. The problem is I just think they made the wrong bet because if I remember correctly back then, I felt like they basically were deciding at that time almost between Dickerson and Kevin Jones. Yep. And I'm pretty sure they were just like, we're going all in on KJ. Mm-hmm. And that was around the time, if my memory serves me right, around the time Dickerson left. And I think that in that realm, they just bet on the wrong guy. At the time, though, it felt like a pretty good bet. It felt like Kevin Jones seemed more marketable. He was coming off of a season where I would have considered him a top 10 player. The ceiling still seemed high, which is why I think it is a good pickup for Innova at the end of the day today, because that guy's still in there. Kevin Jones is still crazy athletic with a really good ceiling. But I just think they made a bad bet. And it is an interesting question of, is this the mid-season rings a little bit more alarm bells of, did they just not have enough cash to be confident they could get through the end of the year paying whatever they were paying both players? Or is it, I don't know exactly when Isaac and Ezra's contracts are up, but they can't afford to lose them realistically in this offseason. So is it just hey, if we cut this here, we can just let that money pile up and then be able to offer a nice signing bonus to keep Isaac around this offseason? That I don't know. There's a bunch of different ways it could go. Vino was definitely, I think, the more interesting one, because when Kevin's was announced, it didn't really seem like people were freaking out like Prodigy's, in trouble. Vino's, I mean, he's huge in Finland and in Europe. Yeah. Like that's a bigger loss than just a player. If you look at his play, sure, he's slipped a little bit, but personality wise and how influential he is over that market, that's a big loss. So to be kind of willingly parting ways there,
just must not translate to numbers.
I think it needs to be a warning to the rest of disc golf professionally. Like, hey, these guys are getting rid of great players who are under big contracts. That means that possibly in the future we're thinking, oh, well, they're going to just sign somewhere else. Maybe not. Like, the money's washing up. It's not COVID years. And I think that if you're under a contract, and you're a player out there and you're not doing everything you're supposed to do, you better get on that bike and ride, because
sayonara.
But yeah, because it sounds like as soon as one company does something like this, people follow. You know what I mean?
Well, I think too, Yuli, back when money was just flowing, a lot of these disc manufacturing companies, and this is something that, I tip my hat to Discraft. I think Discraft has done a great job at spending a lot of money, not just on player contracts, but also in tournaments, on sponsors, knowing that the return is not there. Knowing that, hey, we're going to put $50,000 in this tournament or into this player, and we're not going to get $50,000 back. We might only get 30. We might only get 25. But they are doing that to try to advance the sport and to continue to get the sport to grow. That's all great when things are awesome and money is flowing in elsewhere. But once money starts kind of drying up in different avenues, now all of a sudden, maybe you're not able to do that all that often. And we see that with other teams as well, of where maybe they're not able to extend the olive branch and say, hey, I don't really think you're going to do too much for us, but we'll sign you anyways because we're trying to help out the pros and all that stuff. Like the buddy side of disc golf, that kind of goes away all of a sudden with money is like a serious issue. And if you if you now have, hey, we had to hire more people to operate the machines. We had to buy more machines. We bought a whole bunch of more plastic for all these discs and all this stuff, and everything was selling great. And then all of a sudden stuff isn't selling great. And you look into your warehouse and you're like, that's a whole lot of discs. And you look into your payroll and you're like, that's a whole lot of mouths we have to feed. Things start getting a little dicey, and they go dicey quick.
Well, I think, in my opinion, I think that as the sport continues to grow, and because first off, disc golf is still growing. I think that is an important thing to note. It's just not growing nearly the rate. Like if you look at the UDisc stats, the state of disc golf, stuff like that, like we're at like a 15% growth rate year over year. That feels healthy. That feels sustainable. But I think, 5 years from now, when we're looking back, where I think the biggest ball drop that happened in disc golf was when the money came in. When the moment happened, we had our opportunity to make this sport as big as it could be at that point. I think we put it in the wrong places. Not saying players shouldn't have got paid, right? I think that's great. But a lot of players that are getting paid a crazy amount their contracts are going to run up and they're about to maybe take a 50% pay cut or more. That's a hard life adjustment. Whereas some of that, it could have just been a more sustainable approach. And then the excess money went to marketing our sport, to pushing it. Like, I mean, there's no reason to believe, obviously pickleball has a lot of reasons that it makes it more attractive and stuff, that it's a lot easier, I think, to also put in where tennis courts were, so on and so forth. But a big part of that too is I think that a lot of pickleball dollars went in smart places to get into, the sport in front of the right eyes that latched onto it to monetize it in the right ways. And I think a lot of disc golf dollars went into basically how can we get as much money out of the diehard disc golf fans as possible, which is it was the wrong move in my opinion. And so I think that is something where, when 2030 hits, pickleball might still be well above us, and we will have still grown and be a more niche sport. And we're always going to be a niche sport. We're never going to be one of the big sports. But I think that's something we'll look back on and be like, man, in 2020 and 2021, those years, we missed it. All this money came into the sport and all the money went out in the wrong ways.
Yeah. Was it almost kind of like trying to get rich quick type of thing of where, hey, let's make as much money?
Here to stay. I think a lot of companies bet. I mean, heck, Jomez. I mean, at the end of the day, the Jomez Pro Tour acquisition, some of that was some bad bets at the end of the day. Like I had talked to Jonathan at USDGC, and the retail side of Jomez dried up at one point. And they weren't the only ones. There's a lot of online retailers that bet big, like, hey, this sport is booming and it's here to stay. When the drop off was inevitable. I think in disc golf, everyone knew that drop off was inevitable. People just weren't ready for how big the pullback was. And it pulled back to a spot where we're still much bigger than we were in 2019, 2018. And like I said, it's still growing. It's just we're way smaller than we expected to be at this point, which is where we're seeing this market adjustment that's going to hurt over the next several years. But hopefully it adjusts, gets sustainable, and then, everyone can build as is. It's going to be a tough few years.
It's going to hurt some people.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt some people. It's not going to hurt some other people. But if you're I don't know. I think it's a lot of players are going to have a big time wake up call when a lot of people told them that there's things that they had to do and it would probably be smart for them to do them, and they didn't do them. That's going to be a tough conversation for them to have.
You're absolutely right. Because I was just saying companies didn't, put their time and energy in, but players also didn't. Players had this influx of huge eyeballs that they could turn into big fan bases. They could have been more present on social. They could have, because if you build a bulletproof brand, you're going to be just fine. Simon Lazat's going to be just fine. You know what I mean? Like if you build this YouTube platform and stuff, and there's plenty of other ways to go about it, but that's the way Simon went. You're going to be just fine, regardless of the sport pullback, stuff like that. And I think players also dropped the ball somewhat, because now you're also going to have players that were given the opportunity to really dive in, become a top 10 guy. This is your moment. And they got the check and sat back. And now they might go from guaranteed, upper 5, low 6 figures to, hey, we can give you some performance bonuses and royalties on Tour Series discs. And that's a big adjustment of am I still going to tour anymore? I don't know.
That's where I think too. I think a lot of these companies started, which I think they should do, right? I think players should, when they work with, when you're big enough and you have a big enough influence, you should not be signing. I'm blanking on the name. You shouldn't be signing deals where you only make money when something sells. Affiliate? No, that's not what I'm looking of. What's the word I'm looking of?
Affiliate marketing is one of the words.
Yeah, but that's not what it's called. Royalty. You shouldn't be signing just a royalty deal, right? If you have the influence. But I think what was happening was all these companies were making all the money. We were seeing the Paul contract. We were seeing the Ricky contract. We were seeing all these big contracts. So then they were just saying, hey, we're going to give you a guaranteed 40. We're going to give you a guaranteed 60. We're going to give you a guaranteed 300. We're going to give you a guaranteed 200. And then they're like, none of these people made us that money back or even close to it. So I think you're right, Yuli. I think a lot of these guys, I think we're going to see a shift in these contracts where they're, hey, every month I'm going to get a $4,000 check in the mail. I don't know if that's going to happen anymore. And I also don't think just finishing in the top 10, just finishing in the top 20, I don't think that's going to do it either. If you can't If you can't sell discs for the person that you're being sponsored by, you're not valuable.
Well, I think one of the big shifts too that could happen is as we see like the Pro Tour get more and more contracts with like big networks.
Yeah.
Like, guess what? The people who don't make that coverage, they're not as valuable by 1,000,000,000%.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So at what point do the companies go, I need 8 guys, the 8 guys that get on TV every single time, and we'll pay them all the money? I think that's a world that we could live in someday. Until it gets bigger, because that's how everybody sells money. It's YouTube right now. It's the network. It's eyes getting on your product or your brand, whatever that is. And if you're not the guy, if you're the guy in 20th place and you're not having breakout performances and making it on CBS, why are you getting paid?
Yeah, good
it's
point.
a sad thing. 20th is really good, but in a niche sport where you're not getting viewed by everybody on the planet, like
you're only increasing the value for the 2,000 people that were on the ground at Preserve.
Exactly.
That's it. And even then, I wouldn't even say 2,000 because 1,000 of those people are probably just watching Lee Card.
100%.
There's probably only a couple hundred that are spread out that even actually are watching you. So, Hunter, before we let you go here, I do want to run through a couple more things with the Kevin Jones thing. First of all, Silas, play that video under the Kevin Jones signs with Innova. I kept hearing that the Disc Golf Network had a commercial and that's how they announced it. I kind of got trolled a little bit. I thought this was the video.
Move it. I like to move it. You like to?
Bradley was able to take it down.
Oh, shout out to Berg Nerd, man. That was incredible. Obviously like 10 seconds in, I was like, okay, I don't think this is the video. But for a second, I was like, whoa, this is actually kind of sick.
It's a good thing that wasn't the video because it was played without audio on DGN. That video would have been very awkward. No audio.
Oh, yeah, that would have been terrible.
That would have been tough.
Terrible video. So 2 questions here from listeners, and then we'll let you go here, Hunter. The first one is from Steve-O. This, I think, is a good one. He wants to know, what would it take? It's a little bit different because I think both these guys got asked to leave versus them wanting to leave. But what would it take to make one of us, so Yuli, Hunter, what would it take for you guys to actually leave a contract mid-season? So if it was reversed, what would have to happen for you guys to want to say, I don't want to be sponsored by you guys anymore, deuces?
I mean, it would have to be a breach of contract in some way, shape, or form, or morally something where the company went a direction that I didn't morally agree with, most likely.
Or start forcing you to do something maybe that you didn't agree
ask
with.
me to do something that I just morally wouldn't do, or that something came out about them. You know, there's just like, I can't be associated with that. I don't know. I think those are the first two that come to my mind. Or if there's just a like really lucrative buyout that, like, you know, House of Disc comes in, it's like, Hunter, 10-year, 20 mil, here's your out. Then, you know.
Doc says, is this how Brodie tells Hunter he's leaving Foundation?
That's why I was asked on here. Dang.
Yuli, what about you, brother? what would it take for you to have to bounce from a manufacturer mid-season contract?
Mid-season? I mean, yeah, they're not doing what they said they were going to do. So breach of contract for sure. I'm with you, Hunter. If they do something like that, I don't agree with, like morally, my values are, I got to stick by my own values for sure. And then, there is no amount of money to get me to leave Discraft. So
there you go.
Dang.
Now I will say
Now he's
this.
making me look like a bad person.
no.
The 20 million was a joke.
I have to say that.
20 million was a joke. I guess that's true. I'm not under contract.
Kelsey, when asked how much money would it cost to buy one of her corgis, she said no money in the world.
That's
and I
different.
Said,
That's
I said, wait
family.
a second.
Yeah, that's different. That's different.
But I said, wait a second. You take $1 billion and then you hire a hitman to take out the person that took your corgi.
Now you're killing a human over a dog.
Yeah. So I'm not going to sign with your company.
Hunter, you're not following
Morally,
me here right now.
I
You
think
get
we're
your
gonna flip
corgi
this.
back and you have $1 billion. Okay.
But then he killed someone.
Okay. Maybe you kidnapped them.
Okay.
All right. Maybe you kidnapped them.
Kidnapping's fine. Yeah.
Murder. All right. Last question here. This is from Sean. Should a disc manufacturer be allowed to / should they let someone go mid-season for having public feuds with their two largest players, especially if this player was playing competitively at the moment?
Is this just like targeting you? I think
I guess this is straight coming at me. Yeah.
No, I think that a lot of times in contracts, there's like a code that you're like expected to hold a code of conduct, and there's a lot of times like you can't say X, Y, or Z about the brand or break certain things. So I think if it got to the point that it was against that, like if the dude's threatening someone or, if it's at that level, then absolutely. I think that makes perfect sense. But if it's just like, oh, these two people just don't really like each other, then I mean, what's wrong with that?
Same.
Yeah, I think there's a line that if you cross, then it's like, hey, we're gonna you're not giving a good look for the company. We're gonna have to let you go. But the idea, and this is what I've always said about Discraft is they have never once told me, hey, don't say this, don't bring this topic up, don't have this person on your podcast, they let me and Yuli freaking let it fly on here, and I appreciate that. I don't know if that would be the same case, Yuli, if me and you were sponsored by someone else. I don't know.
Yep.
I can't say yes or no because I haven't been. But
there are companies in the world that wouldn't allow it.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah.
Well, there's
1,000%.
the speculation. I don't know if it was true, but when Hot Take Hannum was going rampant and then out of nowhere he just like went silent, then obviously everyone immediately was like, oh, I think he's with Prodigy. Funny enough, not to put more stuff to them, but everyone immediately was like, oh, Prodigy told him to hush it up. But whether or not that actually happened, who knows? Probably he just couldn't handle the heat that was coming back his way. But
I'll put my hand up and say that I might have been the creation point of Hot Take Hannum. I don't know if I've ever I don't know if I've ever told this story, but I was playing a practice round with him and Katrina, and we were kind of talking social media and like this is like when I first got into disc golf. And so like kind of the landscape and how I was like, listen, if you're not present on social media and disc golf right now, you're kind of doing a disservice because there isn't big media out there talking about you. You have to be the one talking about yourself. It's uncomfortable, but you have to be the one putting yourself out there. You don't have ESPN and all these podcasts talking about you. So I was, saying how important it is to do YouTube videos and yada, yada, yada. And he's like, well, I don't really like filming or know how to edit or really want to do that. And I was like, oh, well, like you could basically just say what you think on Twitter. Like Twitter is great for just popping on and like blasting out a few things.
That he did.
And there we go. So I might have created that. I don't know if he thanks me for it or
the Twitter,
hexes me for it.
Disc Golf Twitter will probably love to know that Brodie created Hot Take Hannum. That's right. They've been waiting for that day.
Well, I wouldn't say maybe like put the seed. I put the seed of Hot Take Hannum in his head. It was like Inception, where I went into his brain and I was like, all right, I planted it in there, so it was his idea.
There you go.
But there you have it. All right, Hunter. Before we let you go, anything for the people here? A little grip lock tour life. People seem to like it in the chat right here. A little crossover.
Yeah, we squashed the beef. I don't know where the final count was, so we won't
Well,
have to bring
I
it
think
up.
I think it's one of those things of where one team is beating the other team 70-0. It's tough for the other team to continue to kind of fight back.
Yeah, I don't know what the count was. I'm not a scoreboard person. I just show up and give my all every day. If you haven't yet, download the Foundation app. There's actually a sales-a-thon going on Friday, 12 p.m., and we're doing a giveaway with the wish list. You can heart a bunch of items, add them to your wish list, screenshot it, DM it to Foundation. We're going to pick a few of you and actually send you your entire wish list. So super exciting stuff there. But download it and then get in on the sales. Friday, 12.
They just
merch on sale, Grip Lock merch on sale. There you go.
Just go to the app store, search Foundation app or Foundation, and it
Disc
pops
Golf.
up.
If you just
Foundation
search
Disc Golf.
Foundation, you might get some makeup stuff. Maybe you're into that. I don't know. But search Foundation Disc Golf. That'll get you better results there.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of people actually come. I've had a lot of people on my live streams come in and said that they love the app. So the app is
it's been great so far.
App is a big hit.
I gotta download the app. I don't know anything about the app.
You can listen to Tour Life on the app.
You can listen to Tour Life. You can buy that shirt that Yuli's wearing right there.
See, I bought 72 of these. That's why the count was so high.
I knew it was up between you and Edwin buying his own merch. I knew there was stuff going against us.
Do not put Edwin Stats merch down. That's fire merch.
I also wanted to. This might not be the best platform, but I wanted to air this out. Edwin also works for Grip Lock now, so I feel like those numbers should be split. I don't know.
That's a good point.
Yeah, he does the Manufacturers Cup for us, does some other stats. He's helping us with the grippies, mid-season grippies next week. So
Edwin Stats is goated. That is for sure.
We should divide the Edwin Stat merch by 2, maybe.
Grippies? That's what I got, right?
You got a few back there.
I
saw
got
them.
2 of those bad boys. Am I getting some more this week?
I don't know. This week's just the mid-season, so no awards will be handed out. It's more so we're doing it mid-season so that we don't forget the whole first half of the season existed. When we get to the end, we can go back and rewatch our grippies.
Watch the recap.
And be like, smart. That's right. Yeah, we've had some bad, like last year choke of the year. We forgot about AB 16 European Open.
Well, you guys
How do you forget that?
You guys also forgot about Kevin Jones on Grip Lock.
Some say that was kind of a blessing in disguise because it allowed us to talk about it and Vino together. So did we forget? Was it planned? I don't know.
Okay. All right. Last thing before we let you go, pet peeves. Hit us with a disc golf pet peeve. What do you got for the people?
I should have thought of this before I got on here because this is going to be so on the spot. This is probably something that's been said a bajillion times over, but it just happened to me yesterday, so it's fresh on my mind. Which is when you let someone play through and they throw multiple shots. That's just it happened to. We were filming yesterday, and it was a newer player, so obviously first off, you're never going to say anything anyways. But with a new guy, you're definitely not going to. But it was like a DX Leopard, a DX Valk, and I forget what the third disc was. But just we're like, hey, you can go ahead and play through because we like skipped ahead a few holes. We're like, hey, go ahead and play through, and he just stood on the tee for like 5 minutes and just ripped a few shots off, and then had to go and look for him. We were all just standing there. I was like, we would have been faster. So if someone lets you through, just get in and out.
That is a disadvantage to disc golf, because in golf we've all been there before where someone's like, oh, you can play through, and it's the same. When it happens in disc golf and it happens in golf, like that next shot is very nerve-wracking.
Oh yeah.
Like you're terrified. But in golf, if you hit a terrible shot, you just keep driving.
Keep going.
No, you don't even pick it up, Hunter. You just drive on to the next hole. You just see you later. That shot never happened. And in disc golf, that's so much harder to like be like, I'm not even going to look for that disc because we don't like losing our discs.
Yeah.
So you have to go look for it.
He threw a bad one and then just threw another tee shot and then another tee shot. That's just a whole different angle.
Oh man. Yeah, me and Ezra were playing with with these two guys. It was the one time we played out at the course in California, the little par 3 course. That's fun. Your favorite course, De La. We were playing the golf course. It was the year that they had the golf course. So we were doing the double. And I think they were doing, I think that year they were doing like an AM tournament on the other course while we were on the other, and they would flip-flop. So our tee times weren't just like all pro tee times. Like you got mixed in sometimes with AMs. So we had 2 AMs playing with us. And the first like 6 or 7 holes, it was tough. But then we got to this one hole that was a forced carry of like 330 yards of just like a ravine. It just drops down and it's like trees and bushes and all sorts of stuff. And me and Ezra are playing a practice round. We get there, first guy in the ravine. Second guy gets up in the ravine, throws another shot in the ravine. They throw like 5 shots in the ravine. And we've already spent probably a half hour to 45 minutes looking for their discs through those first like 8 holes. And we kind of just like look at them. We're like, yeah, we're just going to go ahead. we're just moving on. Good luck trying to find those discs. We can't anymore.
Can I say?
But now they can with the new birdie, the birdie beeper.
Oh, we had that. We would have helped.
Yeah, just beep beep beep. Get within 20 feet. Like, oh, it's right here. Can I say what my pet peeve will be if I come back next year?
Sure.
It'll be when people call back-to-back timeouts. When they call a timeout, they go through the 30
okay,
seconds.
Hunter, we haven't gotten to the timeouts yet on the show.
That's next year's pet peeve.
We haven't gotten to the timeouts on the show.
Timeouts called. And there's stand over their live 4 minutes. Yeah, that's going to be my future one.
How hilarious would it be if you just did back-to-back timeouts on your tee?
Yeah. That's what on
You're
grip
like,
block.
Oh, nope. Wait. Timeout.
That's what I said, not to steal the thunder of the topic coming down the line, but I said it would be brutal if if Brodie and I were in a tee group, we're like, hey, it'd be funny today is if we both use both our timeouts on the first tee. And we're like the third group out. And then the tee sheet the rest of the day, screwed. Yeah. We went to tee off and we took 10 minutes staying on the tee. Just
nice out. Like GBO. That's not GBO. The DDO. Where they have the songs and just have like a long song.
Yes.
And then once the song ends,
timeout. I want to keep playing.
Timeout.
Daniel says, can you call timeout before another guy's shot to ice him?
No, it doesn't have to be your line.
That would be hilarious.
That was the other thing I'd mentioned is like, let's say that I had a 25-footer, Brodie had, or I guess for pros, I guess it'd be more like I have a 35-footer, Brodie has a 30-footer. And it's like, if I miss mine, you have to make it to win. I just call back-to-back timeouts, and you got to stand. I got to stand over my putt too, but I can lay up for the win if you miss yours. I now make you stand over for like 4 minutes. Like you can't in a roundabout way ice people all of a sudden. Like that just shouldn't be a part of the sport. Makes no sense.
I don't think it's interesting by any means. But
no. I submitted my feedback to the PDGA. I did the right thing, so you should too. There you go.
If you guys liked what you heard here with Hunter, you can check him and Trevor out with Connor on Grip Locked Mondays on YouTube. On YouTube over at Grip Locked. If you guys aren't subscribed yet, by the way, we're eventually going to this channel will eventually turn probably into Tour Life at some point, and then all the other podcasts will have their own channel. Grip Locked's already moved on to their own channel, so go over, subscribe to Grip Locked right now. Search Grip Locked. Go subscribe. Are you guys?
That's why I never see any of your stuff.
Oh,
I didn't know this.
Wow. There it is.
I'm kidding.
And there's the smudgeness.
Hunter, what's the goal right now? What's the sub goal? How close are we to a number?
We're trying to get 10K. We're at 8,500, I think. So 1,500 away.
Go over. Let's get Grip Locked over to 10,000 and tune in Monday on YouTube and on your Apple Podcast, Spotify, all that stuff.
Well, why don't we just switch this to its own channel this week, and then we'll have a race with them to 15.
You don't want that race. You don't want the race. You don't want the smoke, Yuli. You're standing on the ground we built. So y'all just have this. Yeah, we built this channel up. We're moving on, building it to another. It's okay.
Command and conquer. All right, Hunter. Appreciate it. Tell Liz I say hi.
Will do. It was a good time. Thank you.
All right, take it easy. All right, Hunter Thomas there, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so I think we knocked out the Kevin Jones and Vino thing pretty good there. Prodigy, all solid. Let's a little recap of what went down at Preserve here. Let's talk about it. We got Ricky taking down his first event in 2024. This is now going to be his third time winning at Preserve. He won in 2023 and he won in 2021 as well. And he now holds a PDGA record for 14 years in a row with a win. Pretty impressive stuff there from Ricky.
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
Yeah.
And he's coming. I was looking at something, and he's coming up. He either passed or he's pretty close to passing Paul in career earnings.
Yeah, it looks like he is going to be the first one to hit that milestone as well, which is it's one of those things where I don't know if we really want to like show, like that's not really maybe a number that we want to showcase. Like, hey, this person's been playing disc golf for 20 years and he's about to make $1 million. It's like,
Germ just had said something this last week where he got passed by Gannon.
Oh, that's tough.
And Gannon's third year.
That's tough. That is tough. I mean, I got passed by Gannon's first tournament. But Ricky had a really solid tournament. He shot 12 under the first round, shoots 11 under the second round, and then shoots 11 under the final round. So super consistent. Only made one bogey the entire week, and that was on hole 2 of the final round. But all in all, very good. And like Preserve, it doesn't surprise me. I was actually doing a show on Whatnot. That's where I do my like card stuff. And someone was asking me like, hey, who do you got this week? Preserve Ricky. It's a real good bet. Like we all know he's not the most accurate player off the tee. He does spray shots every once in a while. So like, what's a great course for that? One that doesn't have OB. Preserve doesn't really have that much OB. So he's able to spray it around a little bit when he does, make putts, which he is still one of the best putters on tour. And the guy just knows how to win too when he puts himself in the position. So shout out to Ricky. We did try to get him on the show as well tonight, but I think he is currently traveling to Sweden. So a little bit tough.
Yeah, Ricky, you're right. I mean, a course like that where you can kind of throw it wherever you want, and the couple holes, like hole 6, for example, is a hole that you have to not take a triple. He's the best scrambler on the planet. I was watching and doing commentary, and it was like one of the rounds he threw a great tee shot. One of the rounds he threw a horrible, still somehow managed to get up and down from par. He was scrambling his butt off. And when he's making putts, like he's just tough to beat. That's with anybody who's in the top 10. If they're making all their putts, and this guy's making them from deep right now, like he has those streaks. And I felt like we lost that a little bit last year. And we saw a nice little re-emergence of his putting stroke at the Tour Championships, especially down the stretch where he made a couple key clutch putts. But when he's making his putt, he can do it all kinds of different ways. And we saw that at the Beaver State Fling where he was making some crazy putts the whole entire week. And I believe I said it last week that I'm pretty sure he's going to win soon. And it's impossible for it not to happen when you're taking podiums every single week. And it's a guy like him that's not afraid of winning. Like, it's not like with other players, it's like, oh, well, he's in the mix. Like, is he going to get it done? With Ricky, it's like, he didn't win. This is weird.
Well, you also need other players, you also need like a lot of help. Like, I hope no one else plays well this week, and then maybe I have a shot. Like, when Ricky's playing his best, he's going to be in a position to win. And like you said too, like you do need to get a little lucky to win as well. Like you do need to get a little lucky. And maybe some of these previous tournaments that he wasn't able to take down, like maybe he was the guy that wasn't getting very lucky.
Oh, he got lucky. He got lucky.
Yeah, with Isaac Robinson too, like some of those putts, he got lucky. Like if those putts stay in the basket, Isaac wins.
Yeah. Well,
so you do have to get a little lucky as well to win. You have to play well and get lucky to win.
For sure. And we saw down the stretch, Isaac and Gannon make it easy on Rick. What was it? 13. Yeah. Hole 13. They just decided to putt for a while.
Yep.
And
they both doubled.
And one
13.
of them fived and one of them.
They both doubled. Both took doubled, 5. Yeah, both took 5s.
They both doubles. Those are some nice doubles going down the stretch.
Yeah,
Ricky Parks, it gains 3 shots. 3 shots are expensive strokes out there, man. Expensive strokes. We were saying it before the tournament started. A lot of us were like, well, I'm just going to try not to take a double or a bogey, and then you should be fine the whole tournament because there's so many birdies to be had. They took a double, both of them, on a fairly easy hole. So then he's essentially just battling Kyle, even though Isaac came back and birdied the next however many. And then he gets the whole 17 and he just does. That was actually surprising. So they get to 17. Isaac has the box. He just tied it up. Misses the gap.
Isaac has 3 birdies and goes 3 birdies in a row,
Yep.
basically getting all those strokes back.
All the strokes back. Gets to the tee.
Mm-hmm.
Misses the gap. That's an Isaac gap.
Not under pressure.
So Ricky steps up, throws the shot. And this is what was awesome. He throws the shot, gets done. And I don't know if he was looking right at him, but it sure looked like it to me on coverage, where he just fist bumped right in Kyle's face as he's walking to the thing. And Kyle just shanks it, throws it straight out of bounds. And all of a sudden that was it. I mean, it meant that Isaac had to eagle and him not eagle just to tie. And Isaac not being the biggest off the tee has to pretty much throw it perfect. So, I mean, it was an interesting watch for sure.
I love, people can say what they want about this course, and I'm now on the side of where I don't think we need to make every course the same. Like initially I was like, hey, we need to make every course harder. We need to make I'm fine with some courses like this of where it's, well, you know what? You're going to have to shoot an average of 11 under to win this tournament, 12 under, 11 under to win this tournament. I'm fine with that. Do I want to see that every week? No, but I'm fine with that here and there, right? Hole 17 though, say what you will. That's a good hole 17 because you are throwing big shots. Like leading up to that hole, you've been throwing big wide open shots. You're coming off a hole 16. That's a big hyzer.
Yeah.
Hole 17 is a big forehand or a big turnover. The hole before that's a big shot. Hole before that's a big mid. Like you're throwing big shots. And then all of a sudden you get to 17. It's like, hey, you need to throw like a 250, 260 foot shot down a little gap. And we saw let me see what these guys did on that hole previously. So Kyle, first round, birdie. Isaac, birdie. Second round, Isaac, birdie. Kyle, birdie. So
what about Ricky?
Ricky
I bet he
went.
misses it.
Ricky went par on 17 on round 1 and birdie. He got it one round and didn't get the other for round 1 and round 2. So I mean that just shows you though, like I like it, man. You add the pressure, you increase the pressure. A shot that these guys in practice. If you stood them on that practice and gave them 10 of the same discs and said, throw it, I don't think they missed the gap. With pressure, it happens.
Happened the previous year too.
Yeah. It always seems like that's the deciding factor hole. And then 18, something crazy has to happen.
Yeah.
Because when you have a 1-shot lead going in 18, it's really hard. Unless you got massive distance, right? Unless you're AB trying to come from behind or a Simon or someone with like big distance, like Ricky's going to birdie 18 every single time if that's what he needs to do to win.
Yeah.
Like
well,
18's really easy if you play for birdie. That's the only thing I don't like about 18, Yuli.
It's really easy to play for eagle.
Well, yeah, I guess
really
so
is.
too. I guess they got to
just-
make it a little tougher somehow.
Yeah, if you have big distance, it's the easiest hole that we play all year.
Just bomb and then a hyzer.
It's just hyzer for these guys.
That is also true.
Yeah.
Bomb hyzer and then a normal hyzer.
Mm-hmm.
Looking down the leaderboard here, we got Isaac finishing in second with not Isaac, Kyle finishing in second. But first, Joey Silverthorne with the $4.99. Thank you, Joey. Thoughts on Bill Nye signing with Innova? Do we need more spokesmen like this? This is kind of like a non-story to me, Yuli. I think having more people talk about disc golf that have like some sort of influence or some sort of passion for it is a good thing. So this is kind of like a non-story. Like
I don't know if he's done this yet, but if he's signing, maybe he needs to do some Bill Nye sciencey stuff.
That would be cool.
And in like an episode, do some sort of episode sciencing disc golf up. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that, Bill Nye.
Yeah, that Justin hits him with the Bill Nye is not a universally loved as some of his obsessed fans believe. Okay. So Kyle Klein, Eagles hole 18 to finish in second. Matty O with a great final round, shooting 12 under, bogey free. Great final round. And you guys had a little fun with Matty O's form there and the Jomez coverage. I mean, the body English was coming out with Matty O.
It was crazy. When that guy gets on fire, man, his body English goes nuts.
Does he lose control of his body?
He was doing all kinds of funny stuff, man. I couldn't believe it. But that's just Matty O being Matty O. When he's feeling it, he lets his body do whatever he wants, man. Whatever he's feeling after the disc goes, he does that. He's following it. He's walking sideways, chasing it.
He was like cool. Ready to power lift 700 pounds, it looked like, on some of those shots. Isaac Robinson shoots 8 under the final round. Kind of a tough round. 2 bogeys, 2 doubles. We'll get into the putts and the baskets here in a second. Don't you worry. We obviously are going to talk about that. Gannon Burr and Luke Taylor. Hey, shout out to Luke Taylor. Luke Taylor, young talent, finishing in the top 5. Very nice there.
Been balling. That's like his 3rd top 10 in a row or something.
Been playing great lately. Then you got finishing out the top 10. You got AB in 7th, Adam in 8th, Double G and tied for 8th. And then, hey, Presnell saying, have you forgot about me? I'm a major champion, taking down the top 10. So good little performance there from Prez. Any other names? Let's see. Simon comes back after a long break. You could see like maybe some rust there, but has a great tournament, finishing in 14th. I think he's going to start being in the mix in some of these upcoming tournaments as well. Gavin still continue to have a great season. Gavin Babcock's having a wonderful season there. Yeah. Another top 15 for him. Jake Mon. Shout out to Jake Mon. I don't know if he's were you able to see, is he throwing right-handed, putting right-handed, or what's going on with him?
It looks like he was.
So he's back. Okay, so shout out to Jake Mon. Really solid talent. Unfortunately had a pretty bad final round. Shoots 3 under the final round with 4 bogeys, but still finishes in the top 20, which is impressive. So you got Jake Mon there. Where's Ben? Where did Ben finish?
40th.
What happened? Any idea of what happened there? Shoots 14 under round 1, finishes the tournament at 16 under.
14 even, 2 under, I think.
Yep. Ben? Any insights on what happened there?
No, I have no idea.
Okay. Shout out to Kevin Jones, first time playing under Innova, with a nice top 30 finish there. Also got to shout out my boy Jeeves. If you know Jeeves, he's back on tour for a few events. Did you?
Yeah.
I love Jeeves. Jeeves is awesome. Jeeves is my dude. Tied 28. Good little finish there for Jeeves there. This is kind of crazy. Like, this is how bunched up this tournament is. You ready for this?
Yeah.
1 stroke, right? If you're at 17 under, actually no one was at 18 under, but basically if you would have finished 1 ahead, you would have jumped up into 19th. From 28th to 19th. That's how many people are tied in these positions. And then you go from tied from 28th to 36, which is what you finished, Yuli. Another Zachary Nash, nice finish there. Chandler Kramer, very impressive. Shoots 10 under the final round. I got to give a shout out to Chandler. Very impressive for a forehand only player on a course like that requires a lot of distance on a lot of these holes. Pretty impressive stuff. Let's see what else we got. Paul Ullman also always does well at the preserve. Shout out to Paul. And then we have the cut at the cut line was at 14 under. So here are some people that some notable names that ended up missing the cut line. We've got Paul Macbeth. Paul Macbeth misses the cut line after starting his tournament, I believe, at +1.
Yeah.
He ended up battling back, shot 9 under the second round and 4 under the round after that, but it falls short of making the cut by 2. Let's see. Corey Ellis, major champion, missed the cut as well. Who else? Notable, Andrew Marweed, Chris Clemens, Alden Harris. Very interesting. What are your thoughts on Alden Harris this year? What is going on over there?
I don't know. Struggle bus.
Yeah, like he was a top 20 guy last year.
Top 15 guy, I think.
You
I
think
he
top
finished-
15?
Yeah, I do. He was finishing like top 10 every other week, it seemed like.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We might have to reach out and see if he would like to come on here. I know, he's got the vlog and all that stuff going on. But yeah, someone of his talent caliber, he's not putting up the results this year. So very interested what's going on over there. Other than that, I think that is going to be, I don't know what the heck happened to Ezra. What the heck was that? Even?
Seems like an Ezra type of course, too.
Yeah. Right up his alley.
Yeah.
Gonna have to get the lowdown on that when I get up to Iowa this week. Two DNFs here, Matt Bell, Jake Wolf. Fun stat here from Edwin Stats.
Wait. Matt Bell. I got to tell this story.
Okay.
Because Germ told me this story. He was playing with him. Doesn't show up to the tee time. Then they're on hole.
On Friday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think he played the first round. Or
Let me
was
check.
it-
Let me check.
Maybe not. Maybe. Whatever.
Oh, he did play. He did play the final round. He played the first round. He shot 6 under.
Okay, so then he's playing. He misses his tee time or whatever. Shows up on a hole. Plays a couple shots. And then leaves. He doesn't even finish the hole.
Wait, so he misses his tee time on Saturday. Shows up on like hole 4.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, what's up? I'm here. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we just gave you +4 on the last couple holes.
Yeah. Throws
Okay,
his tee
great.
shot, throws his up shot, and then bounces.
We gotta get this guy on the pod.
Apparently
What
he
is
was like,
that?
Yeah, my shoulder's not feeling so good after all, like later. Maybe
What
it was
is that?
There's a tester. He was like, oh, maybe I could do it.
But he's already like 12, 13, 14 over bar.
And then that's what's crazy. And then shows up, throws a couple shots, and then bounces, dude. That's
All right. Yeah, we got to get him on the pod. That's wild behavior right there. That's crazy. So yeah, Matt Bell, Jake Wolf are your 2 DNFs. Let's shift over to the FPO side. Missy Gannon winning with a 3 under final round. She didn't really need to do too much because she came out scorching, shot 10 under the first round. That really just was a lead that she told everyone, try to catch me, and no one could. This is her 3rd event on the season. And Statmando threw this out. Missy Gannon has never lost, Yuli, when entering the final round with the lead.
This is a crazy stat.
6-4-6. Never lost.
Big money Missy, big lead Missy.
And it's not like she's coming into these final rounds with like crazy. I mean, this one tournament with the field of the FPO right now, the field isn't there. Obviously, all the Europeans aren't there. So this one isn't really, I don't know. I mean, she was 15 under. Holland was 13. Lucky was 10. Owen was the next one at 8. 7 shots at preserve, no shot, right? So like this one wasn't like super crazy, but some of the other ones, like she had to hold off some people, like multiple people chasing her down. 6 for 6 is crazy. Crazy stat for Missy.
Yeah, I never knew that. That's a great stat. I'll be keeping an eye on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Finishing out the top 5 here, Maria Oliva actually had a really good start. She started 6 under and then shot 2 under and 3 under, but that great start there kind of finished her into the top 5. So in the 4th spot, real quick too, Holland Hanley also had a chance to win it. I'll say that. I mean, I thought Yuli, we might see a back-to-back situation after having her on the pod and her like confidence. I don't know if she's there yet because there was a little shakiness on the putting green on that final round. And then, hole 14, she bogeys. Hole 15, she doubles. And then bogeys hole 18 to lose by 2. You birdie hole 18, you force Missy to have to par it. You never know. I don't know. It did look like Holland kind of gave that one away a little. I wouldn't say gave it away. Didn't really put the pressure on Missy.
Yeah.
Is what I'll say there.
Still learning how to win. Obviously, not everybody can be 6 for 6.
I wonder though if that popped in her head, like, holy crap, am I about to win back-to-back tournaments?
Right.
Because her missing the Mando on hole 17-6, her missing the Mando on hole 15 is tough. Like
I saw a lot of people miss that silly Mando.
Just because people are trying to like cut the corner as much as possible.
I just saw a lot of people miss it, man. It was crazy. I saw like 5 people over the weekend on my card miss it.
Really?
Yeah, 2 in the same round. Your boy.
Yikes. Jeeves.
Garrett.
Jeeves. Dark Horse Jeeves. Also, I want to give a big shout out here to Rebecca Cox. I want to give a big shout out. Now, her performances have kind of gone a little bit under the
radar.
Thank you. I'm not all there tonight, Yuli, so I apologize. I'm like missing out on all these sayings, but yeah, under the radar because we have some like new winners with Holland Hanley, or we have Paige coming back and winning, and we're kind of like talking about that and not really talking about her. She has completely not only changed her form, but she's also completely changed her putt. She's basically like if you watched her right now and then watched her a couple years ago, you would think it's a completely different person.
Yeah.
So big shout out. I know that cannot be easy, and that must take a lot of practice, determination. And a lot of people are stubborn and they're just like, no, I'm just going to keep grinding with what I got. She saw my form isn't good. My putting form isn't good. I have to change something. And she's now putting herself in contention here. So big shout out to Rebecca Cox finishing in third place.
Machine, top 5 machine really lately too.
Last year, her average finish 26th. This year, 11th.
Really good.
Wow. All right. Now moving on, we got Owen Scoggins finishing in 5th, which, to be fair, this course is not suited for Owen Scoggins at all. But finishing 5th nonetheless, with Lucky there as well. Ella Hansen at 7, Valerie at 8, Kona at 9. Big shout out to Kona too.
Yeah.
Big shout out. Have been going through a lot of medical things. Have been putting a lot of pressure on that. Obviously, she was under a lot of scrutiny too with her big contract, flying in with the helicopter, that whole ordeal. Could we see a little pass or a little start of a little momentum here with Kona? I know I would love to see it. So we'll see. I think she's got it in there. I think she's got the talent in there. I think she just needs to start getting that confidence back. But a top 10 nonetheless for Kona. So nice to see there. Lisa with a top 10, Natalie Ryan in 11th. Going down here a little bit. Ellie Ezra. This is a name that kind of jumped on the scene last year at Women's. And I think we were all just like in awe of her throwing and her power. I mean, still super young. I mean, what, 17 maybe now? Yeah. 16? But 13th place, but are we waiting for that? Like, hey, when is it going to be?
Takes a little time.
Yeah. Okay.
Give her some time.
All right. Fair enough. Haley King is going to be the final FPO player finishing at under par. Yes, that's right. 13 players finished at under par there. The rest all over par. I got to quickly just say, Yuli, I have no idea how Kat's playing. I mean, she is pregnant.
Yeah.
Like, there's times where, maybe you eat a little bit of food and, it doesn't sit right, and someone can come up to you being like, oh, when are you due? Like, oh, congratulations. You're like, no, there's a food baby. No, she's pregnant. You can walk up to her and say, like, when's the baby due?
Yes.
So I have no idea. I mean, I'm just trying to think. Maybe that's a future YouTube video of like putting on a pregnancy suit. Actually, that's a great idea. And like just seeing, like, I got to imagine that messes up your pull through. Like your belly's in the way now.
It has to.
So shout out to her though, finishing it. Just finishing a tournament's impressive, but finishing 16th, very nice. Emily Weatherman still making moves as well. Last person I want to talk about, Paige Pierce here. Obviously, got to bring her up. She wins the last tournament she was in. Skips. Doesn't play the next tournament. I think goes to Bonnaroo. Is that correct? I think she was at Bonnaroo. Maybe the chat can help me here a little bit. But I believe she ends up going to Bonnaroo instead of playing Beaver State. Now, I think that was scheduled prior. So it wasn't like one of these things of where she's like, I won. I want to take a little bit. Obviously, we made a little bit of a joke of like, hey, she won. Take that next tournament off. So we're still talking about her win kind of thing. But you have to imagine, Yuli, coming back into this tournament, all eyes are on her. Not just from what she said about us, but also like, is Paige back? Like all those questions. Shoots 3 over par. 21st place. 21 shots out of first. So I don't know.
I think we need a bigger sample size.
I agree. I'm
bigger sample size of what's going on.
I agree. It's just one of those things of where it's like you're gonna have all eyes on you now. Everyone's gonna be looking. And I'm sure, and here's the thing, this at the end of the day, guys, this is sports. It's an individual sport, so maybe it's a little bit different because I think some people feel like it's a personal attack. But you're going to have people rooting for you. You're going to have people rooting for your demise and rooting for you to not succeed. And yeah.
Unfortunately, that's...
Bev says, leave her alone. She has nothing to prove.
Sports, buddy.
Yeah. It is what it is. If you want to stay on top and be on top, you're going to have to face the music when you aren't as well. So that is the nature of the beast. All right. Moving on. Yeah. O might have a point. She did proclaim herself as the greatest of all time in her interview. So once you do that, you do kind of have something to prove. I will agree with you on that. Demo Dave wants to know, Yuli, is the preserved scoreability, apparently that isn't actually a word, is what he said, but is the preserved scoreability good or bad for the tour?
I try to lean towards what you're saying with it's nice to have some tournaments where you can kind of relax and not have OB everywhere and stuff like that. But I don't know. I was talking to somebody about this last week while I was there. And I was saying how, like, you have the best players in the world. You should be challenging them as hard as you could possibly challenge them. And not necessarily every single week, but I mean, come on. I mean, we're throwing in the middle of a field with a bunker that's safe on multiple holes. I don't know. I just don't. I understand it. I understand how people don't like the OB and they like the challenge. They don't want people to birdie every single hole, and the wind picks up and then it becomes a little bit tougher here and there.
Sure.
But the best players in the world are so good, not only because they can throw it farther than everybody and make the longest putts, but they can do it while shaping different shots. And when you give no perspective of the shot shaping capability that these people possess, that's when I say distance is no longer a skill. When you can throw it 550 feet in this direction, that's not a skill to me. That's an ability. A skill is when you get it going this way, right? Like AB is so incredible because he throws it so far, but typically it goes in the direction that he wants it to go. Garrett Gurthie has always been a fantastic shower of the ability to be accurate and throw far. Calvin Heimberg throws farther than everybody straight down a tube, and he'll throw that same distance in the middle of a field. That's why he does so good. That's another thing. Why wasn't Calvin at this place? He would have just rocked it. He was gone. Where was he? Where's Calvin?
Yeah.
Where's Calvin at? I'm asking you a question. Do you know where he actually was?
Oh, on like where he finished?
No, he didn't play.
Oh.
I was saying, where was Calvin? He just decided to skip the preserve. Like, I feel like that's like a spot for him.
You think so? I don't think preserve actually suits his game. I mean, again, Calvin's game goes everywhere.
It travels.
I guess he is going to Sweden, is what some of the people in the chat is. I didn't know.
Like, is it good?
Sorry, I was reading a comment, so I was locked in.
Did you watch any of the rounds?
Yes, I watched the beginning. I watched a lot of the rounds live too, the first couple days, and then me and Kelsey kind of had a family day on Sunday, so I didn't watch too much live on Sunday.
I also don't like having string as being the only thing to where you know what's OB. Like tall grass is nice, but stakes to where you can like mark it. I mean, there's a good amount of out of bounds on that course, but like, how silly is it on the island hole that people are throwing onto that tiny little spot below the high, like the high spot where the basket is, like the actual island? You can just like throw it to the right side.
Owen's not even on the island, made birdie.
I watched a bunch of people. I did it.
Yeah.
I got a green flag and I was like, what? No, I didn't make it on top. There's just a couple little things like that. Apparently, a lot of people love it, though. Like, I also think that it's the experience of taking your RV, being able to sit on the course and, like, stay there and go fish the little ponds and do all that stuff. This place is beautiful, by the way. It's a great piece of property.
And if you're able, and the nice thing about it, too, is you can go out there and play the same course that the pros play.
Yeah.
It's set up there for you. It's not a temporary course or anything like that. But my question to you, Yuli, is if they beefed up some of the holes, if they made a couple of the holes, a little force carries here, we're going to add some OB here. Do you think Ricky or Kyle or Isaac, do you think they still shoot 30 under? Probably.
No,
I think they do. No, I'm not saying you're making it super hard. I'm saying you're making it to where you can't throw. I'm not saying you turn it into USDGC. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you just make it to where like really bad shots get punished. Because out there, a really bad shot.
They do. That's the thing. Some of the course, you do get really punished. Like, but it's
on
not
just a handful of holes.
Yeah, just a handful of holes for sure.
Yeah, but I'm saying if every hole was like that, right? Like, did they change hole 1? I couldn't tell.
No.
You could still just blast it out to the right and be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, like hole 1, if they put hazard down the right hand side, I don't think Kyle's missing it over there. I don't think Isaac's missing it over there. But there are going to be some people are. So I don't know. That I'll leave it at that. I don't think you need to turn it into a course where a great round is going to be now 4 under or 5 under.
No.
I think you can beef it up to where a great round's 10, 11. And it'll be a little bit more exciting, I think. Because I'm with you. Like, you've got the best players in the world. You want to challenge them a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, and
but not to the point where it's too crazy. I don't think we need that every.
You just want to put something in our brains when you're out there on the course to where you go, what do I do?
Correct. That decision.
And that's not there. That's not out there, man.
I mean, it's not there in a lot of courses.
It's go.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of disc golf courses are like, how do we make this challenging? Let's just make the shot really hard and see who can execute it versus let's make the strategy very difficult. And people have to make decisions.
It has some of my favorite holes on tour too. Some of my absolute favorite holes.
Preserve's nice. Preserve is. I mean, it's one of the.
It's so beautiful. I'm not complaining about the tournament at all. It's
one of the best courses.
If it was my course, it would be a little bit harder on the player. But like you said, I think there's a place for it. Kale did a great job with the initial design. Who knows if the new owners beef it up a little bit.
Yeah. Bobby says, I don't understand the problem. Everyone plays the same course. The lead card was still the top guys there. Bobby, so this is a over exaggeration. So that way you can kind of just understand where we're at. If we went to a course and every hole was 100 feet and there was no OB, there was nothing in the way, you would have guys that have way lower skill levels shoot the same score as the guys that are really freaking good. The guys that are really freaking good are going to be throwing it to 2, 3, 4 feet every single time. The guys that are okay, they're still going to be throwing it to 15, 20 feet. They get the same score. So what I mean by that is like you want to basically make it to where, and the other thing that me and Yuli talk about here too is there's an element, this is what we were talking about at the end. There's an element that is in golf that has not translated over in disc golf, and that is up here. That's the brain. That is having to use your brain and decide how to attack a course. Oh crap, I threw a shot over here. What should I do next? And there's very few times that you actually have to use your brain in disc golf. It's just execute, execute, execute. And who can execute the best? And that's why I say a lot of times disc golf is playing darts.
Yeah.
Darts, there's no strategy. You go up, you see the shot, you know exactly what you have to do. Can you execute?
And it kind of goes the same way, the opposite spectrum. I think that everybody plays the same course is a total cop-out for
Correct.
what we're trying to say here. Like, so now let's say this.
Because you can make the course insanely hard, Yuli, and it'd be the same thing. Everyone's just getting pars.
Has OB left and OB right of as big as your disc.
Yeah.
And it goes, and they're 1,000-foot holes. Is that what we want? No.
Now everyone's getting the same score too. Everyone's just throwing an OB every time. Yeah.
And so
you got to find that fine line.
Yeah, you're trying to find what is the best from here and that other way. It's somewhere in the middle that I don't think disc golf has found it yet. But there are some places that are too easy, in my opinion, and there are some places that are too hard, in my opinion. There are certain holes that are too hard that don't make a lot of sense.
Kit, please let me know the strategy in darts, my friend, since you just called me a dork. Which, to be fair, all the people that call me a frat guy would take offense to you call me a dork, because I don't think you can be a frat guy and a dork at the same time.
A dorky frat guy?
Yeah, I don't think dorky frat guys exist there, Kip. But please let me know where there actually is strategy involved in darts. All right, let's go on to no live comments on YouTube during the FPO live coverage on YouTube on Friday. I just got called a nerd. You nerd. Okay. I posted on Twitter saying like, hey, it kind of sucks that there isn't live comments. Like watching sports and having, because when you watch football, college football, I mean, heck, the baseball championships that went down, there isn't a lot, like no one's watching that on YouTube, so there isn't a comment section. So where do people go? People go to Twitter and they have that conversation there. We actually have it on YouTube to where you can actually have a comment section. And I think it's great. I think it's just like here, this live podcast. People can have a discussion in the comments while we're talking.
Nerd.
Call me a dork, call me a nerd, all that stuff. I think it's great. And I think it adds to it for sure. So the fact that the FPO doesn't have it, that takes away a little bit of being able to watch it. With that being said, though, someone made a good point. Now, obviously, elephant in the room, Natalie Ryan and people going on there and saying stuff about Natalie Ryan is why they don't have comments. And I had a couple people reach out to me and talk to me, and they said, listen, like, I was like, why don't you just ban the people that are going on there? Because like I do live shows and we do live shows here too. Like Silas is moderating the chat. We have a couple people, Edwin Stats is a mod. We got a couple other people that are mods in here. If someone's coming in here and saying crazy stuff, Yuli, we would put them in timeout. We would ban them. We would do stuff like that. Right. So there is a line that you can cross to where it's like, yo, you can't be saying this stuff in the chat. Now, I was basically saying, why don't you just do that? And they're like, hey, we can't keep up with it. The amount of people that were coming in here, creating new accounts, couldn't do it. So I was like, you could basically set up on YouTube where you're like, hey, this word, we don't want to be said in YouTube, right? So like the F word, we could basically have that word set up to where if someone came in and said it, YouTube wouldn't actually allow you to say it, right? Yeah. And so I was like, hey, why don't they just do that? And then the person, I can't remember who it was on Twitter, but they gave me like 4 or 5 examples of things that you would not actually have banned, like the words. And I was like, okay, well, you can't ban those words. you know? And so I was like, that makes it really, really tricky. So there is they are in a tough spot. I don't really know what they do in that situation. Because on one side, yes, I'm with all the free speech people, right? I'm not a fan of people that delete YouTube comments. I'm not a fan of any of that stuff. You guys know that. You want to call me a nerd on the YouTube comments? Guess what? It's going to stay there and it's probably going to get 20 likes and it'll be staying there as a top comment. We're not going to delete it. But there is something to be said about like, hey, like we have kids watching this. We don't want certain language to be said in our chat, but then it gets tough because it's like, well, someone's just like saying their opinion and there's not really anything hateful in it. It's just their opinion on the matter. So
somebody can take offense to anything.
Correct. And so like, that's where I don't know where we go from here. All I wanted to say is like, I don't know. It does suck. I think we can all agree on that it's not having comments is, if we could have comments versus not having comments is better. So, Moon says he's offended by your comment. All right. DGN decided, you know what? Let's actually have Nate Perkins call some of the live commentary. I actually had a lot of people reach out to me. I didn't get to watch too much live of the men. I watched a decent amount live of the FPO, but not too much of the men. But I did have several people reach out to me and said like, hey, Nate literally just did an entire whole commentary like how we discussed. He should be doing the commentary. The people in the booth should be adding to it. Which then I got JVD and like Terry being like, we've been doing this forever. What are you talking? So I don't know. You can't win sometimes. I can tell you right now, I watch a decent amount of live. Very few times is Nate the one that's running the show when it comes to or Brian or whoever it is.
Yeah.
So
I've never heard it. And I've watched a bunch of live.
Yeah.
It's the only disc golf I watch.
So keep it up, DGN.
Except for when I'm doing commentary.
This fly has been in here for 3 hours, I swear. But keep it up, DGN. That is what the people like to hear. The guy on the ground, the guy standing 5 feet away from the player, let that guy tell us what's going on. Not someone 2,000 miles away or 1,500 miles away in a booth looking at a tiny little screen. We'll leave it at that. Okay, what else we got here? All right, Silas, you can play the basket clip. You can play the basket clip. Yuli, what are we thinking here, brother?
Frustration coming from Robinson.
I love Isaac, man. These baskets suck. All right. Yuli, we did have Mr. R reach out, and he said, on Jomez, Yuli sounded as if he may have changed his stance on putting touch and baskets. Just curious. So have you changed your stance looking at that putt?
Oh, 1,000% with those baskets.
I don't think that putt had too much speed.
Here, listen, I walked up because I knew I was gonna catch the business from.
Well, yeah, I mean, you are the basket guru here.
Yes, I grabbed a putter. I pushed it up against the pole, and I let it go, and it flung it out. So it's not the fact that his putt's coming in hard and bouncing out. Like you could just place a disc like
it's
this
just a
in
swing,
and it pushes it out. So there's nothing you can do. There's no amount of touch. There's only one thing you can do. There's no amount of touch
and have
that's going to keep
die
it.
Into the
How
hole.
about you just hit it a little lower?
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know.
I mean, on that putt though, that's tough. It's an elevated basket,
That's
right?
possible. Yeah,
So
that's a great place to hit it. You're as professionals, we're from that distance, that's where we're aiming, because you want to give yourself a little leeway to hit higher or hit lower. You're not trying, especially on a high rise, you're not trying to just kind of drop it in there. That's dang near impossible because the amount of loft you have to put on for that basket would go another 40 feet or whatever if you're putting it.
Am
But
I crazy?
He had another one on 4. It looked exactly like it. And
the year before, he had the same thing on the same hole.
yeah, but it cut through.
Am I crazy to say this? This is a bad look for disc golf.
You're not crazy. It's horrible.
Okay. I was trying to think of some other sport where this is similar. I can't come up with an example.
Okay,
Maybe someone in chat can come up with an example, like a ball toilet bowling around a basketball hoop and not going in. It wasn't a good shot. A putt that lips out wasn't too much speed.
I feel like you see it sometimes in with refs.
Okay, yes. People are saying like the strike zone. So when you have a third party making the wrong call,
exactly,
and then everyone
That's
being like,
what it
"Oh my
feels
gosh!" But now we can say those refs suck.
Yep.
Now we can all point at them, and they're the scapegoat. Here, the scapegoat is the basket, and it's like you can get a different basket.
Yeah.
So like you don't have a scapegoat here.
No, it sucks, man.
Yeah.
It sucks. And to reiterate, because I feel like people forget this part, I'm getting thrown under the bus all of a sudden again for my comments of spit outs. I'm all for having a basket that catches everything. I'm all for it. We don't have that. So that's why I said the comments that I say, get better at those things, because that's what we put on, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I want a better basket. I want a basket that catches everything. Sure. I'd love that.
Should we change the design of discs on putters to where they have little hooks? And so like where you hold the putter, there's no hooks. And then everywhere else there's hooks. So when you throw it, it just hooks itself. Or instead of metal chains, let's make them Velcro chains. And on the edge of the putter is all Velcro. So it's like those big fair games where you run and like jump as high as you can, and you're like in the Velcro suit and you just splat against the wall. You just throw.
I like my idea, and I get people making fun of me for this, be like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, okay," and they like roll their eyes. But why can't we have just a teeny tiny area to where if you hit that spot, it counts? Even if it comes
you're
back
the
out.
Aaron Gossage. You're the Aaron Gossage. He just wants like a hockey thing to where if it hits the area, like the buzzer and the lights
I want
up.
it to be a small area. If you hit anywhere on that area, it counts. If you miss that area and it pops out or it cuts through or it pushes out, doesn't count. But a really small, just so there's an exacto.
So why don't we just make a hole?
I mean, we could.
Like, wait a second. Hold on. Ready for this? There's a hole that's twice the size of a Frisbee, because that's literally golf. 2 golf balls. Basketball. 2 basketballs. Soccer. Doesn't work in soccer. But you get my
billion times.
You get my drift. So the hole is twice the size of a Frisbee. And it's on a mechanical, like electronical basket. And so when you step up to your putt, you can have it square up to your putt, and then you putt. And if it goes in the hole, you make it. If it doesn't go in the hole, you miss it. Someone else goes, it goes, and it turns the hole to them. And now they go putt. Problem solved.
Wow, you just fixed disc golf, Brodie.
A hole, baby. Let's putt in holes. Oh man. All right.
How about we just not putt on Prodigy baskets anymore?
Yeah, you're telling me.
If you can put the disc in the basket, let go of the disc, and it goes zoo, flies out of it. That's kind of a little silly to me.
Bobby says, change nothing and like it. Bobby's a little sassy tonight.
Yeah, I like that. I like that, Bobby. Yeah.
If we thought that was crazy and ridiculous, this next segment, pull up your big boy pants. PDGA says, you know what? let's come up with some new rules potentially for 2025. And I said this on debate night. So you guys will probably, if you guys listen to debate night on Thursday, you'll hear this again. And I think this perfectly sums up the PDGA. I think in one of the rooms, they have a fair room, like a carnival room. And on a wall, they have all those like balloons, right? All the balloons. And behind each balloon is a piece of paper. And on that piece of paper is like a crazy idea. Like, hey, let's spend $1 million on a rating system. Let's charge a lot of money to send out magazines to people that no one listens. Let's not rent out the driving range at a world championship so players can't practice and have to throw into a net. Those are all in these pieces of paper. And randomly throughout the year, they just have an employee. We'll call him darts guy. Maybe it's the guy in the chat that's telling me there's strategy in darts. Maybe it's that guy. He walks into this carnival room. He picks up a dart and he just chucks it at the board. And it pops the balloon. And then whatever behind that balloon, they're running with it. And this week it was timeouts in disc golf. What are we thinking there, Yuli? That's gonna save pace of play, timeouts in disc golf.
So not the time extensions?
No, you get a timeout. Silas, you want to read this to the people for those that don't know what we're talking about here? Which balloon do you want me to hit?
Yeah, so basically it says when it's their turn to throw, a player may elect to take a 60-second timeout up to 2 times in a round. And I mean, the player must indicate to the group that they wish to use one of their timeouts. Timeouts may not be called retroactively. So I guess that's like back in time. So, sure. Each timeout used by a player is to be noted on the scorecard, and the timeout period expires once a player indicates to the card that they are ready to throw, or when the group notes that 60 seconds has expired and notifies the player. At the time, the player must throw within 30 seconds as described in blah, 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 another rule.
So here's the question, though, Silas. Can I take 29 seconds, call timeout,
Yes.
take 60 seconds,
Oh,
call,
yeah.
call
Yes.
timeout,
Yeah.
take 60 seconds, and then take another 29?
Yeah. It doesn't say anywhere in there that you can't.
Okay, so I could potentially take 3 minutes before I want to throw one of my shots.
Yeah.
My question is, can you use it when you lose your disc?
Oh, to get an extra minute to look for your disc. That's
Extra
the best
2
time to
minutes.
use it. Extra
Yeah.
2 minutes. Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
you could use it. You could get more than that. You get like
Well,
3 minutes.
When is it? Okay, so it says when it's their turn to throw. So when in disc golf is it like your turn to throw, technically?
The time starts when, if you're out,
Yeah.
your card has to look for it. So they would all look for it. The 3 minutes would be up. 1 second before the 3 minutes is up, I would be like, time?
Time out.
And then I'd keep
And you
looking
got
for it,
another
but your
one.
teammates don't have
do
to
you
keep
have
looking.
do you have to make the T? Like, what's the signal? Like, what if I go like this and then I'm like, I never connected, never called a timeout?
Or like when I would use a timeout, I would like to think of it as an extension to my time.
Yeah.
So like when I'm putting and it's crazy windy and I can't get a wind read,
Timeout.
I could just be like timeout. Now here's the thing: do you have to wait till the 60
Oh,
seconds is
yeah.
up?
Do you have
'Cause
to
it's a
take all
timeout?
60? You should have to take all 60. Because in other sports, you can't come back
That's what I'm
before the
saying.
time is up.
You can't be like, okay, now.
Oh, wind's gone.
No,
Boom.
no. It says the timeout period expires once the player indicates to the card that they are ready to throw.
Oh, see, that's
when the
even
group
worse.
Notes that 60 seconds has expired.
So you can literally go timeout. You could take your 29 seconds, win, timeout, and now you have 60 more seconds just to wait for the wind to die. And then as soon as the wind dies, say, I'm good, and then putt.
That's when I'm going to use it.
Yeah, I mean, that's when you this is terrible, PDGA. This is terrible. How does this stuff get outside, Yuli? Like, how is this not getting shot down before it gets like seen by the public?
This one was actually brought to them, I believe, by the board of the Pro Tour. So
I can tell them that, Yuli, we've done this so many times.
It was voted on by the players as well.
I didn't vote on anything. I want to put that out there. I did not see where I could vote on timeouts. We've talked about this many times. Golf literally does the same thing that we do. Just follow with what they're doing. We should have an idea of how long.
We're a niche sport and nobody wants to. No, dude, we're our own thing, Brodie. We can't do that. We can't. That's so silly.
They're pulling stuff from other sports, but they're pulling the wrong things, Yuli.
No, we're our own thing.
They're pulling the wrong stuff from these other sports.
Listen, when you're you can be at a muni course and you're playing around a real golf, and you'll have the guy with the red flag.
He'll come up to you and say, you need to play faster.
And that's on a $18 round.
That's not even a professional tournament. That's not even a
professional tournament. It's pretty simple. They go, hey, your allotted time is this. You're behind that. Speed it up, bud.
On average, you should play like on some of these courses, they have it to like the specific hole of where they know, like, okay, par 3, par 4, par 5. But for the ones like you're talking about, they just know, like, hey, through 6 holes, they should be at this time. Through 9, they should be at this time, right? Other holes, they literally would do it hole by hole. It's so easy that a municipal course can do it, Yuli. That's how you should say it.
Because the people in front of us had 3 holes in front of them. I had to call Phil. Hey, Phil, these guys are slow.
It still blows my mind. It takes literally, Yuli, 10 seconds to see if there is a group playing slow on the PGA Tour. 10 seconds. Why do they not have someone monitoring it? I literally do not understand it. It makes it worse for everyone involved. The pros, the players, the spectators. It's crazy to me.
I'm so mad about it because I hadn't missed a putt yet in the circle the whole time. And I'm on the island hole. And I'm putting. Circle's edge putt. And it's windy, man. Super windy. And I'm waiting. And there's a bunch of people. And I'm waiting. And finally, I just go, okay, I have to go. I'm coming up on my time. I putted. It's raging wind. I miss it barely high. And then we're backed up on the very next hole. And I remember sitting there. I'm like, see, this is what sucks about this rule is I'm playing by the rules and it's costing me strokes. These people in front of us are violating the same rule that I just took a stroke and did it. Like I could have waited there longer. Eventually the wind's going to go down. As soon as I putted it, of course the flag goes, meh, all right, we're good.
Yep. And
that's what was frustrating is because now we're waiting on the group in front of us and they're all taking forever. I mean, the guy that was in front of me, bro, on 14, I walk up. There was already a shot that had been thrown from us. So we threw our tee shots. There was another shot thrown because they didn't get out of the gap. We get to the corner. We're waiting. They're on their second shots. Nobody in front of them. This certain guy grabs his disc, walks over to his lie. No. Goes back to his bag, grabs his rangefinder.
His bag's what, 20 feet away?
It's not close.
Yeah.
Range finds it. Goes back to the bag, grabs another disc, sits there for another 30 to 40 seconds because the wind picks up. Oh, grass. We're sitting there. I didn't do this because I'm a professional, but I almost yelled at this person.
I would have yelled.
Like, speed it up. The only reason I didn't is because the island hole's right here with people playing.
It was today, Junior.
It was crazy. But those are the people. That guy is sitting there. He might have beat me. I'll have to look it up. He might have beat me. And I'm over there rushing putts that I never miss. And I miss one because there's a raging headwind. Like, come on.
Edwin's trying to figure out who this guy is by getting intel on you. I got to tell you, Yuli, maybe the best thing we did, we love our Tour Life crew. We love you guys. The best thing we might have done is open the chat.
Yeah.
The chat is absolutely electric tonight. Shout out to everyone that's in our chat. Shout out to everyone that's watching us live. If you guys haven't, I get it. Some people are doing stuff Tuesday nights. I get it. But if you're got nothing going on Tuesday nights, you got to get into the chat. It's absolutely electric. Shout out to the chat. All right. Timeouts and disc golf. Man, I never would have thought that was going to pop up. I think
it's better than not having anything. I really do. I
think it makes it worse, Yuli. I think it makes it worse. It doesn't make it any better. I think it gets worse. Because that's just another thing that no one even does the 30 seconds. That means no one's going to do the 60 seconds.
No, I think it'll.
You think people are all of a sudden going to enforce the 60 seconds if no one's enforcing the 30?
I think more people will enforce the 30 seconds. Yes, 100%.
If there's a timeout?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I think it's easy. I think 100%, Brodie, listen to me. If you're sitting there and a guy goes over his time like this guy does, and you look at the guy and go, why aren't you using it's easier to say, why didn't you use your 60 seconds instead of just calling him on a rule violation?
Sure.
1
okay.
billion%.
I agree with you on that. What I'm saying is I don't think people are going to hold people to their 60 seconds. What if the guy takes 90 seconds? Now it goes back to we can't say you should have used your timeout. I guess you can say you should have used your second timeout.
You can, yeah.
And then he uses his second timeout. I'm just saying you're now.
Listen, I think it's easier for the player to call this rule because it's not directly attacking the player. I don't care about the time. I don't care about anything. I think it's now easier for somebody who's taking longer than 30 seconds being like, hey, next time you got to use your 60 seconds.
I agree. I agree with you on that. I don't know if it speeds up pace of play.
I don't either. But at least it's going to help with calls, I think.
Yeah. Well, the problem is once you call your timeout, now you actually do have to tell them that they don't have any timeouts, and now you go back to square one.
Which is fine. You probably at this point in time, either they call it for themselves and they know they're going over the time, so they're calling it on themselves. So they're already admitting that, hey, I'm one of these people who I'm a time violator. And if they don't, then you can do it.
But you see what I'm saying? We're back to square one where now you have to call them. You have to call them and get them to stroke themselves. Get strokes.
No, you can just do it.
No.
If you're somebody who's rolling through 2 time extensions around, it's the easiest thing I'm ever going to be able to do in my life.
Hear me out. I agree with you that initially it is easier for me to say, hey, man, use your timeout. You're taking forever. I agree with you that that's easier than what it is right now. But once you tell them to do that twice and they're out of timeouts, we now are back to where we are right now.
No.
We are. We're back to where you now have to say, like, hey, you're out of timeouts. We have to start.
1000%. It will be so much easier for you to call that. Okay. After you're like, dude, how have you used 2 of your timeouts? Like, you're getting stroked now.
We'll see.
Nobody should be using their timeouts, period. I'm with you.
We'll see how it turns out. Maybe timeouts is what disc golf needs to get the second boom. Maybe that's what it is.
The big contracts are coming now that timeouts got put in there, baby.
Cupcake and Nico are just like, yes. All right, Manufacturer Cup. Let's talk about it. Manufacturer Cup. After this tournament, we got Kyle Kine, Discmania extends the lead over Discraft with a 3rd consecutive top place finish. Kyle Klein had his 7th top 10 finish of 2024. Wow. He's playing some good disc golf. Gannon Burr was also able to record a top 5 after back-to-back wins in Oregon. Discraft led in total players in the top 10 with 4, but also placed in the back half of the top 10. Ricky's win helped Dynamic Disc close the gap on number 3 Innova, which had only which only had Double G scored 3 points this week. So you got Discmania with 318, Discraft with 305, Innova with 165, Dynamic Disc with 121. Then you have Prodigy with 87, DGA with 47, Westside with 38, MVP with 36, Castaplast with 23, and Mint with 15. Shout out to our boy Edwin Stats for the 2024 Manufacturers Cup results. All right, let's throw into some listener questions here. Got a couple good ones. First one is from Quinn Yulee. They want to know, what are your thoughts on the Silver Cup and if you ever will see it on tour again? Also curious. The secondary question. So go ahead.
The Silver Cup.
Yeah, I was unfamiliar with the Silver Cup. Does that not ring a bell to you either?
I'm drawing a blank. I've heard it. I've heard about it, but
Adam says Silver Lat Cup.
It's a tournament, but I can't.
Wisconsin and Wisconsin.
Oh, the Silver Cup. Okay, yeah, Wisconsin.
Got it. Okay.
And what was it?
Just thoughts on it, and do you ever see it back on tour? So I'm assuming it's probably a local tournament.
So it's a property that has like multiple courses on it, and like a hotel, I believe, on the property and everything.
Was that the one that had one of the baskets as like a light post? Not a light post.
Yep, that's the place.
What is it? Not light post. The one out in the water.
Yeah.
I am out of it tonight. What is that thing called? Where
a light tower?
Lighthouse?
Lighthouse. Yeah. Is that the lighthouse? Is that
Yes.
the lighthouse basket? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same place.
Jeez. Light post. Brodie.
Man, that place is sweet. The courses aren't, I don't think, hard enough for the tour, but I think you could make a combined version of two of the courses that they have into a good enough course. So
yeah.
Thoughts. And I think that place was up for sale for something pretty cheap recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I might be making this up, but I thought it was on sale for like 800,000, like almost 900,000 or something.
Jeez.
That might be just hogwash.
Is it in a floodplain?
No.
Okay.
It's by a lake.
Most disc golf courses are. Oh, I do have a story.
Or maybe the ocean, I guess.
I do have a story. One of my favorite courses in Dallas is called Trophy Club.
Yeah.
And it sits like in a peninsula around a lake that like goes into a stream. So it's kind of all connected. I went down there like a week ago and it said like road closure. And on the U-Disc, it said like a couple of the holes were underwater, but the rest were fine. We've gotten a lot of rain down in Dallas. And so when I got there, the park was actually closed. It's a gated park, so you actually have to pay to get in and park and all that. Because there's also a boat ramp, so you have to pay for all the access and everything. Anyways, the park was closed, but you can park outside the gate and just walk up the road and get on the course. But I looked, and the road, there was like a 50-foot section of the road was just like 3 feet underwater. So I'm like, all right, well, not playing this course. I wait like 5-6 days. It's been like 100 degrees here. It's so hot. Yeah. So I'm like, surely I'm fine. So I go back down there. And it's not a close course. It's kind of way out of Dallas. It's not in actual Dallas, but it's way. So I go out there. Park is still closed. And I look at the road and no water, but you can see all the crap that was left by the water, like mud and all, refuse, all that stuff that was left there. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to park and I'm going to walk because I want to play this course. I drove all the way out here. I want to do it. So I walk across the little crap, all the mud and all that stuff. And I start walking. And again, it's like 100 degrees. I've already now at this point, I'm 6 minutes into my walk. I'm already through my entire Gatorade. All I have left is like a 32-ounce water bottle, and that's it. And I'm like, I have to start preserving this water because I'm about to play 18 holes. I keep walking, and like I'm now like 10 minutes in, and I pull up my U-Disc, and I'm like, bro, I'm like not even close. Like I got like another 10-minute walk. And now I'm like in my head thinking like, am I going to survive? Now I'm thinking in my head, like, if something bad happens to me, is Kelsey going to be able to like get out to me and save me, or she's going to get dehydrated? I'm having all these thoughts in my head. I get around this corner. I look ahead, quarter mile ahead of me, speed limit sign. Water is up to the speed limit sign. The lake has just encompassed the entire course. The road, everything is like 4 feet underwater. So I'm like, wow. So I just turn around and walk back. So I had a nice little like 20-minute walk on the road. I don't know when that course. I mean, we're talking like
got consumed. It's gone.
Yeah, I don't know what that course is going to look like. I've never seen it like that. It's going to be wild. So we'll see. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, Trophy Club, shout out. Great course. All right. Dis Donkey wants to know, Brodie. Oh, wait. Sorry. Second question with Quinn. Also curious as to why you've not been playing, but I'm sure I've missed that answer a bunch. Yes, Kelsey right now is transitioning from living in Dallas. I'm transitioning as well from living in Dallas to living out in Las Vegas for the Raiders season. So that's been going on. So I ended up missing the 2 West Coast tournaments. I missed the Preserve because that was the only week that Kelsey could be back in Dallas. And I will be going up to Iowa next week for the DMC. All right, Dis Donkey wants to know, Brodie, do you think you stack up against Scott Stokely? Forehand distance, putting, physical height, disc golf rating, personal character. Have you ever sat in on one of his clinics? Okay, so I've never sat into one of his clinics. Forehand distance, I think he throws farther than me forehand. Putting, I think I'm better at putting. Physical height, I think he's got me by a couple inches. I think he might be like 6'7". I'm 6'5", so he might be like 6'7" or so. Disc golf rating, I have no idea. I don't know what mine is. I don't know what his is. Personal character, the dude has written a book. Trevor read the book. He said it's pretty electric. If you're able to write a book and have it be entertaining, I think your personal character is through the roof. So I'll leave it at that. Mitchell wants to know, should the PDGA let you opt out of certain features like the magazine to lower membership fees? That's a good question.
Yes.
I agree. They should have like different levels. Absolutely. Eric McCabe coming in with the question. They want to know, with Yuli being Captain America for the President's Cup this year, what's his strategy? Is this the year Team Europe will capture their first win versus a dominant USA team?
No. First, the answer is no to capture their first. What's my strategy? Well, the team is not yet complete. We're doing the fan vote right now, which you can go over to, I believe, the European Open Instagram page, and you can click a link there and go vote for who you want on the European side and who you want on the American side as far as to represent USA in Europe. Once that is done, I will be able to make my captain's pick, and I'll know who the reserve is going to be on the team.
Nice.
So I can't make any assumptions until those two things are done. After that happens, I'm going to look on who's on the other team, and then I'll probably start strategizing at that point. I have a basic idea of what I want to go down, but honestly, these two
spots that you have to fill.
Yeah, that the fans are voting on are very important for what I think is going to be my strategy, which I will not say.
Okay.
Right now, one thing I think that will be pretty dang obvious is they didn't put Anthony Barilla on the
team.
He's not on
roster?
the team, and they didn't put him on the fan vote. So I think it's pretty dang obvious who I'm going to pick as far as who's going to be on the team. He's won 3 times this year.
He's a top 10 player this year.
Yeah, like
and on that course too. That course is great for him.
Yeah, exactly. So,
wow.
I'm basically waiting on the fan vote.
Who's the other captain? Is it Seppo?
Seppo. Yep.
We'll have to have him. We'll have to have you. You guys both like battle it out the week before here. That would be a fun pod.
Yeah, that would be a fun pod.
Because hopefully
I'm sure.
everything's set up before. Like I'm hoping on Tuesday everything will be set up for the event on Wednesday.
Yeah,
I'm hoping. So that
I
would
don't
be.
know. I might need to take a day off from the pod.
Well, we can film. We can film early.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
We can do like a pre-recorded one and release it on Tuesday to like hype up the event the next day.
That'd be awesome. Yeah,
That'd be
but
sick.
I'm excited about it. I mean, looking at both the teams, I also have to know who they're picking, who the captain's pick is over there, and who's their reserve and all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, people are saying it should be a separate pod. All right, we'll look into it.
Good question though, Eric.
Yeah, great question. All right, Corey wants to know, you always give the live stream numbers, but what kind of listener numbers are you getting from Spotify and Apple, respectively? I haven't checked in a while, but I wanted to say we were getting roughly around like anywhere from 20,000 to 30,000 listeners on Apple and Spotify, with Spotify being, I want to say like 60 or 70% of those listeners. But I would say, I don't know what it is now. It might be roughly the same. It might have gone up a little bit, hopefully, but 20 to 30,000 listeners a week is what we probably get on each podcast. And then, you know, the 20 or whatever thousand views we get here on YouTube. So appreciate everyone. Hey, if you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening to this on the podcast, appreciate you guys.
On Spotify.
Yeah. Hunter jumped in. Obviously talks about the app. So if you guys missed that, definitely go on your app store. Foundation Disc Golf has an app now. You can find our podcast on the app. You can also find shirts like what Yuli's wearing right there and what I'm wearing. There's a little Atlas shirt. Foundation Disc Golf right there. Go pick up some merch. And speaking of merch, Silas, we are right now, Tour Life merch is racing, grip locked. We love the guys over there. It was a great competition for the first couple days. Then it kind of just got to the point where it's like, hey, look, we're kind of beating a dead horse here. So we had to start setting our own competition. And that is a race to 500 units sold of Tour Life merch. Where are we at here, Silas? How close are we to 500?
Yeah. So first off, I want to mention me and Yuli are twinning. So I forgot I had this shirt on.
Oh, you got the blue version.
Yeah,
Nice.
I got the blue version. Yeah. So we are at
My favorite shirt.
98. Literally two items away from our big number.
Holy smokes. All right. So go over to foundationdisc.com or go check out Foundation Disc Golf app. Pick up some Tour Life merch. We got discs on there. We got minis. We got hats. We got hoodies. We got t-shirts. We got stickers.
Don't you have like dry bags
we got
too?
Patches.
Oh, we do have dry
Patches,
bags.
The chalk stuff.
Yeah, patches. We got a lot of sweet stuff. So, Gary says I'm gonna make it 500. Let's go, Gary. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Gary.
All right, boys. Anything left? Shout out to the Who Won Trivia today. For those that don't know, Edwin, every single show is in the chat early. So if you guys get into the chat, show starts at 8 p.m. Eastern. Get into the chat early. Edwin does his early trivia every single week, gives out a disc. This week, I think it was some Ricky Wysocki disc, I think. And
oh, cool.
To commemorate Ricky's win. Do we have a winner for that, Silas? Do we know who won that? Edwin, can you drop that in maybe the chat?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Not sure. But yeah, if you guys want to try to win next week, jump in 5-10 minutes before the show starts. And wow. Bad drops a 20 spotter on us. Says good job of making a great podcast. Well, we appreciate that.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Silas, you get your lunch tomorrow paid for from Bad. There you have it.
Yes.
Oh,
you.
Don won. Congratulations to Don. His second disc. Holy smokes. Shout out to Don.
Love that.
Taking down a nice little inventory. All right, Silas, Yuli, boys, you got anything else for the pod?
Nope.
All right. Well, good show, everyone. Appreciate you all so much. And we will see you next week. We will be up in Iowa getting ready for the Des Moines Challenge. I cannot wait to eat some Mexican food up there. So we will see you guys Take it easy, my friends.